I haven't heard great things from the Horus Heresy community.
Have you not? Why?
They're not excited for it, from my
What's made them not excited for New Heresy?
So something that a lot of people are worried about for the new edition of 40k,
Okay.
that it was indexed straight after having just been re-released, just after being indexed, basically.
Yeah.
And from looking at it, and this comes up a lot at the moment, and I've said this phrase many, many times, the rules seem a lot of change for change's sake. So like all the profiles going from 1 letter to 2 kind of thing. So you got save value. Like
Do you not think they're just further differentiating it from 40k on purpose, though?
But it's already very different.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And it's like, and the rules are so, they've like, we always complain that everything had too many keywords, and they kind of doubled down on that. And what I feel like they've made is a role-playing game at 3,000 point scale.
Which this is why I'm kind of excited for it. That's legitimately why I think I'm quite, like, I've kind of come to the, like I've said for ages, kind of miss armor facings, I kind of miss blast templates, I kind of miss...
Yeah, but they had those already.
No. And so I've come to the realization in recent times that actually 40k is not going to get those things back, and it's probably actually for the better.
Yeah,
it's not going to get those things back. And competitively, if I want to play a game at a tournament, it's probably going to always be 40k. But Heresy, I feel like they're going deeper into the RPG world with the gaming system, and that I'm actually kind of keen on.
I'm keen for that level of granularity for games, but not on the scale of Horus Heresy.
Okay.
Like in Necromunda, it makes sense. Because that's like a squad-based game. Whereas Heresy is literally, in terms of models on the table, you're nearly looking at double the size of 40k.
And this is the thing, isn't it, right? So I kind of like the kind of RPG-ness of things like Necromunda in concept. I don't really buy into Necromunda itself, but like I kind of like the concept of it being more RPG. If they do this in Heresy, and it means that a game takes me an hour longer to play because it's more RPG, I'm actually okay, because it means I can. Because I don't want to do it. I don't want to do that level of RPG with just a squad of blokes. I want, like I was looking the other day about the way that they damage Titans now, and that you can target different components of the Titan, and I'm like, I like this.
It makes
I really
sense.
like it.
I think like one. I think there's like the competitive scene, which I think of Heresy doesn't need a competitive scene because I feel like it brings out the worst in that community.
I agree.
Right. Because it just becomes this horrendous arms race of just table your opponent as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So
and people look to abuse rule like dreadnoughts. When
you know Big Phil of RFW fame.
I do. Yeah, lovely bloke.
The beautiful man mountain that
he is a wonderful human being.
Right.
Yeah.
He went and played at No Retreat, Horus Heresy.
Yep.
And one of his games versus Ultramarines player, he just picked up 600 points of his army turn 1.
What points is it played at?
Like 2,000,
Is it?
2.5. So literally over half his army just gone.
Well, over half his army is 600 points to 2,000, Jay.
But it's whatever, right? Yeah, but if it's like if they're playing like 2,500, you know.
Yeah, it's still over half.
So, but it basically means that
There's a quarter gone.
It's just not a fun. It's not a fun game, and some armies, if you play them the way that they do play, are like awful. Like I wanted to play Night Lords. I picked Night Lords because I really like the model line, and then everyone was like, "Oh, you're so try hard," and I'm like, I don't even know the rules for
the Eldar player in me has taught me to ignore that comment, Joe.
But the thing is, though, like what I find is that the competitive part of Horus Heresy is the worst part because it's just take the best.
Would you not argue to some extent that you can apply to basically any gaming system?
Yeah,
the competitive part of it can bring out, doesn't always, I need to add that caveat, but can bring out the worst people.
Well, what I saw this great quote over, I think it was Call of Duty or Rainbow Six.
Yeah.
And it was all communities kill their games. Right?
Yeah.
And on that concept that computer game companies, board game companies release a really nice, fun game.
Yeah.
And then what happens is their community takes it and then does the most despicable things with it to the point where it's just not fun to play. Like at its root, Call of Duty is a really, really fun game. There's a reason why it's really successful because it has the best player interface in terms of like playing the game. It's the smoothest. It works well. It's a controller layout that we all know. It's optimized to the point where it just works really nice. But the problem is that when the competitive aspect of it picks up, it just data mines it for the best thing, and then that's all that happens, and it's awful.
Well, you can expand the phrase, can't you? Yeah. The phrase is correct, but you can expand the phrase to a very simple phrase, and the very simple phrase is humans ruin everything.
Yeah.
Because they do.
They do.
Flat do.
Yeah. And
fact.
So I think with Horus Heresy, it just needs to be more. I think Horus Heresy is the perfect game to play at a mate's house.
And this is
right.
That's the vibe we always try and kind of encompass on the channel, right? The Garage Hammer vibe, the Beer Hammer vibe. We've talked about it loads, and hopefully we do a relatively good job of trying to represent that and playing games with your mates and enjoying yourself. Now, I'm yet to know whether we'll be able to play a Heresy game on stream because it might be that it takes an extra hour, so we might have to figure something out as to how we can get that to work. But I feel like that would be more of my casual chill out game.
Yeah,
Heresy, where we're really narrative heads on for a day, and right, this is actually a moment at Istvan or whatever it might be.
I think as a game, it's probably better in the sense that disregarding Custodes, Admech, and Solar Auxilia, everyone's playing the same army, so everyone's rules are theoretically the same.
Yep, in essence.
So it's not a case of like if a guard player is playing Tau and it's like the Tau player speaking another language, right?
Yeah, I've had it very rarely, but I have had it where I played. My specific vice has always been Genes to the Cults. I never understand what they do.
It's like, just do what you just do.
I could do this and this. Okay, apparently, cool.
Whereas Horus Heresy, that problem is not so much of a problem because it just becomes a case of like the other person can pick the other person up on certain rules because they're both doing the same thing. I like the books for Horus Heresy. I want to play Horus Heresy, but I feel sorry for the existing player base has a problem in the fact that the game got re-released. It was really good. Dreadnoughts were a problem.
They were,
a big problem. A few other little things were a problem, but ultimately it's fine. Then they released these series of incredibly beautiful, nice black books. They always do it for Horus Heresy.
They're lovely, yeah.
Lovely. So all the Horus Heresy players basically spent the best part of £300, $500, whatever, on all of these books and all of these armies, especially the books, and that's being indexed. And some of these books have only just come out at like 40, 50 quid.
That is a problem.
And then when they go, oh yeah, by the way, it's all being indexed. So I've got a couple of friends who've left 40k to go to Horus Heresy, and they're like, we've spent thousands of pounds on Horus Heresy armies, and I've got all these books, and now I don't want to play it. Because everyone's like, you generally think that your game system, its current set of rules, will exist for 6 years before it gets indexed. There seems to be a 2-edition cycle and then index start again. So they were like, I don't mind spending all this money because I've got 6 years of my life to play it. And then they're like, oh, I'll get a year and a half.
Yeah, I do get that. I understand that. We've got all the books. We got them on day one, the originals, not the more latter ones that have come out, the more recent ones that have come out. And they are stunning books. And I want to start having a peruse through them, despite the fact that the rules are changing. But I understand that as a complaint for people in general. Like it's even as bad as a codex coming out in this latter part of this year. When I say this year, I mean like June now till June next year, the year of 40k, the third year of the cycle. There probably will be codexes coming out post-Christmas. And that's when I'm like, I feel bad for those people, whoever they might be, because you probably got until June and then guess what? New edition.
Yeah.
Hopefully it does mean this particular occasion that codex is still relevant in the new edition.
So what's left? Because Chaos Knights has just been.
Imperial
Knights sometime. Templars, which they announced yesterday.
They haven't announced when, though.
Haven't announced when,
Later this year,
but we know it's coming.
Yep. So Templars, Imperial Knights.
Drakari, Votan.
I feel like we're missing one. But maybe not. But yeah.
I think Deathwatch aren't getting one, Demons aren't getting one.
Maybe it's Demons that I'm thinking of, actually, to be fair.
I reckon Demons will get one next edition now. I reckon they'll get one. Games Workshop tried to get rid of them, and then they were like, when people were like, no, but I like Demons, and we have Demons armies.
Well, For the brief second we're talking about 40k, I will very quickly ask you for your opinion on yesterday's Templar model.
Beautiful. Lovely. I really, really like it. I was sad at the same time.
Oh, Grey Knights. There we go.
Grey Knights.
Thank you, Limey Panda.
When they announced it, I was very, very excited that it was going to be an ancient because I did see the picture first. And I was hoping for a sculpt because what they've been doing recently is doing a lot of artwork to miniatures.
Yeah.
And my favourite piece of Warhammer art, so much so that I convinced my missus to buy me the Warhammer artwork, big full-size canvas picture of it, was the old black and white artwork of the Black Templar standard bearer, who's holding the gun, and he's holding it with his power fist.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, we're getting that model. Very, very excited. And when I saw the new model, I was like, oh, it's not that
I still
one.
think he's pretty...
I mean, but he is still really, really nice.
There are some people out there, we talked about it last night on the show, there are some people out there that don't love it. There's a couple of people that's like, it's a bit of a lazy sculpt. It looks like a Sword Brethren that they've stuck a banner on and used a head from an upgrade spree. Like, yeah, but...
It does, but it's also a Space Marine.
So there is, right?
There is a limit to how many things... Like, they had the chance to make a very popular version of it, but they didn't, which is fine. But at the end of the day, it is just a Space Marine holding a banner.
Yeah.
All right? And it's fine. Like, it looks really, really nice. I like the fact that you've got two different things that you can put onto it. I've got everything in my garage ready to add to our Black Templars. So I am looking forward to building and painting that.
Yeah, I'll give you quite a lot of an idea to do.
I've got loads of Sword Brethren. I've got... What's this? Yeah. Basically, I changed my name on YouTube after Mikey put some bang up shit talk about someone on YouTube, and I was like, that deserves a name change.
Yeah, fair.
I was a big fan. So I've got some of Big Ash.
Sven, by the way, thank you so much for 20 gifted. You're amazing.
Thank you.
This month's been rough. Joe will get you a hope later. I promise you.
I will.
Thank you so much for 20 gifted.
I promise. And so I've got some stuff for Big Ash that he'd built and not painted. So I've got 2 Gladiator Lancers.
Yeah, cool.
For
the Templars?
For the Templars, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you,
because he'd put the sponsons on as multi-melters, because Templars can just take a multi-melter on it. He was like, don't like the bolters, I just put multi-melters on the side. And I was like, well, it kind of represents, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I've got that, loads of Sword Brethren. I could probably give up one of my Redeemers. I could I could give up one Doomsday device and still be feared.
The Redeemer in Templars is fitting as well, isn't it, to be fair?
Yeah, so we have the stuff. I've probably got a box of Infiltrators at home because we need them.
I fucking love Templars.
Yeah.
I do. They're not going to... Someone said to me last night, how long before Liam then gives up Space Wolves and switches to Templars? It's not happening. I'm so Space Wolf obsessed right now. It's not happening, but I do love Templars.
I am still sad that I sold my Templar art. When Templars came out, I immediately bought 15 Blade Guard and all the characters. I converted. I had like a beautiful Templar army, and then I sold it because the person I think it was just a case of I was like, I'm never going to get around to using and finishing this.
The one thing I didn't like yesterday was the cover art for Templars. I think it looks weird proportions.
Honestly, I feel like the cover for the Templar book is AI generated.
A little bit. It gives you that kind of vibe, doesn't it?
Because he's got massive thighs, tiny grooves, massive thighs, massive body,
weird little head,
weird long arms, pea head.
It's weird, isn't it?
And some people, but it's perspective, isn't it? It's not like he's falling over. He's not like leaning away.
It's a strange cover art. I don't love it.
99%
of the time they swing and hit with cover art. That's a weird one.
Of all the Black Templar art that just exists in the universe, right? And I have seen some of the stuff that AI has generated and looks really, really good. That was awful. And I feel sorry because that someone's job has been to paint it, draw it, they were happy with it, and then someone approved it. Yeah. And then it's been printed. And the helmet's like...
It's weird, isn't it?
It's a weird shaped helmet. And then one thing, it was mental, right, is all the codexes that have come out so far all the artwork, 9 out of 10 has been banging. A lot, like I wanted all 3 versions of the Guard book, right? I wanted all the Eldar books. The Emperor's Children one's really, really nice. You know, like the World Eaters one's far great. Basically, all the Chaos ones have come out stunning, and then that one, I was just like, ooh.
Yeah, it's rough, isn't it? So we can basically agree to a point that the model's quite nice.
Yeah.
The codex art is pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Now, something that has apparently split people quite a lot, which is the topic for the stream today, chat, is the Saturnine stuff for Horus Heresy. So there's a number of reasons why I am excited about Horus Heresy. I've wanted to get into it for ages. I wanted to get into it during last Heresy, but the problem is during last Heresy, I was just about getting to a point where I was going full time. I didn't have a lot of armies myself. And then eventually what happened is I ended up going solo. And again, I didn't have any armies myself. And hence I found myself a Joe. And we started adding 40k armies. And I was not in a place to put any kind of pause on 40k output and go into Heresy. As you guys have seen with AOS, we can put a little pause on nowadays. We are afforded some time. And we added some AOS forces. So I think we're in a better place to be able to add Heresy armies and do Heresy armies, which is the first part of that. The second part is, like I say, I think the RPG aspect is really, really cool. But the third part is, and one of the main parts for me personally speaking, is there is a significantly lower requirement, doesn't mean you can't, but there's a significantly lower requirement to use lots and lots and lots of resin now. You can build the core of your force now, both tanks and infantry, off of plastic. They have the stunning Mark 6 plastics that have been out for quite a while, and all the upgrade sprues and upgrade packs. They've got the Cataphractic Terminators. They've got most of the tanks are out now in resin. They've got the Leviathans and Derrideos and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So they've got this big shift towards plastic. And I don't mind having the core of my force plastic and having my Primarch as a resin miniature and a couple of other little characters as resin miniature. I'm fine for all that. And then what they're also doing now is they're adding this new box set with these new Mark 2? Mark 2 Space Marines in them, thank you. I don't know the lore of Space Marines quite like Joe does yet. I'm getting into Space Marines actually at the moment. It's partly because of Space Wolves. And then they also have these, for me personally, they have these stunning Saturnine models. And I see a lot of hate online for these. Now, I know you weren't a big fan of the Saturnine in the kit simply because of the drop site massacre narrative.
Yeah, they completely balked the narrative on it. But I don't like the Terminator. I don't like the Dreadnought.
I love the Dreadnought.
It just looks like a giant potato. Right. Bearing in mind, I love the Leviathan, right?
Which is a giant potato.
It's a giant potato, but it's an aggressive potato.
Yeah.
Whereas I think, the infantry's growing on me. I really like it. The picture that you've used for the thumbnail, I quite like.
It's beautiful, isn't he?
Yeah. It's really nice. The Lord's really nice. I think the problem is when it got leaked, didn't it?
Yeah.
And all the pictures are like the two-handed gun platform version. I'm not a fan of those. But when it's got a gun and a hand or two hands, it looks better. But I think the problem is that maybe my mind might change once I've seen the Saturnine Dreadnought, is that Games Workshop always builds Dreadnoughts like a CAD design. They're very fixed, very... right? There's no
standing square pose.
There's no, but I think that's like the entire Horus Heresy range. Like when they do stuff, everything's just very straight back.
It's not just a Horus Heresy range, though, is it? Because they've done it with things like Brutalis Dreadnoughts and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I've seen people get, excuse me, I've seen people get their hands on Brutalis Dreadnoughts and do incredible things with running poses and all sorts. And Games Workshop.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on,
it really grips my shit when I see people that have got these fully multi-piece posable dreadnoughts and they're built like that.
Yeah.
You go to a tournament, there's like 4 dreadnoughts like that.
Or you also get people, I know people that have done this, who what they do is they'll put a tactical rock under a foot to make it look more dynamic, but they don't actually change the pose, so the dreadnought just looks tilted. Yeah. It's just like it's falling over.
And but I hope that once people get their hands on it and I see it doing different poses, I hope that it looks different. But it's too... Yeah, it's too static. It's like a war machine thing, you know.
So the posing I don't disagree with, but I'm into the model. I think the model's really cool.
The Terminators, I said early on before I even saw them, I said I don't want Saturnine in the game because the artwork, they look like the baddies from the Fifth Element.
I don't see that.
Someone put pictures into Fanes yesterday.
Okay.
And I'll find it in a minute. And I was like, the only reason they're in the game is because there's a very vocal online presence of people that have been asking for it. And I was like, they don't need to be in the game.
Chat, this is today's job for postcards. I want you guys to tell us what you think about the new Heresy box set. I want you to tell us what you think about the models, whether you love or hate them, whether you're intending to use them for Heresy or 40k, because I've seen lots of people talking about using certain parts of it for 40k as well. I also want to know what you think about anything you've seen so far from the rules perspective for Horus Heresy, and whether you're positive or not about it. Are you a 40k person who's looking at getting into it? Are you a Heresy player already who's thinking about continuing? Are you a Heresy player who's looking at it and going, this isn't for me, I don't like it anymore? Anything like that, stick on a postcard, get it in, and at some point in probably 20 minutes time or something roughly like that, we'll jump into the chat and we'll answer your questions and talk about your points.
Trying to find the picture now.
But I do really like the Saturnine stuff. I really like the Mark II stuff. I really like the Mark VI stuff. I'm very keen on a big Heresy. Yeah, a bit, I guess.
They're very similar.
I do love the Dreadnought. Honestly, I love the Saturnine stuff. And I'll be honest with you, I know the old Saturnine models from years ago and the old artwork, and I expected to hate them.
Yeah.
I expected to hate the stupid shoulder pad things, which aren't even shoulder pads if you narratively they're like shield generators or something.
My partner was messaging me. Have you still got my bank card? I didn't give it back to her, so
The answer is yes. So she can't do anything? She can't go anywhere? Is that how you're controlling her now? At the same time, whilst Joe is confessing to his darling other half, he has decided to keep hold of her cards.
It's one of those ones where she's the kind of person that keeps her card in her phone.
Yeah.
Her phone case. And I'm old-fashioned, and I put my cards in my wallet. But the problem is I get home and I just put my wallet on the side.
You're old-fashioned because you're still using cards.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, like Google Pay on your phone or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need a card.
Yeah, but sometimes she pays for the shopping, so...
I actually, on a rare day, I have my wallet on me today. I don't know why. Normally I don't. Normally I carry my phone around. All of my cards are on my phone.
It's one of those ones where she was like, I'll pay for shopping, so...
Yeah, fair. Okay.
But
yeah, so I think they look absolutely... I think the stuff looks really, 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 really nice. I was expecting to hate them. I was expecting to think they'd look a bit derpy and stupid. And then when they released... When I actually waited and saw the announcement video... I was then like, I actually think this is really nice. I'm actually a big fan of these. I think it's really cool. And once you get some better angles of the models, and Games Workshop aren't the greatest for taking photos of their own stuff, when you see some of the different angles and when you've got the video where it kind of zooms in and moves around, and it's not a static image at a specific angle that they photograph everything at.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I like that. I'm a big fan. And I actually think when you really look at them, people go, the proportions are weird because their shoulders are coming out top of her head, but they're not. If you look at the model, because those shoulder pads aren't shoulder pads, like I say, because their shoulders come into. I think they've done a very nice job.
Defensive things that go.
Yeah, I think they've done a very nice job of making them look super cool. So, like I said, let us know what you think on Super Chats. Also, if you really want to support the channel, one of the best ways of doing that for us is by becoming a member of the show and letting that membership tick over every month. That's amazing. Or by gifting memberships and letting other people get a peek into the Discord, a look behind the scenes, and maybe they'll have a look at what perks they can get for different levels. We will be starting the Jarls Only giveaway quite soon. So, let us know. If you don't let us know, but if you feel like it, hit that member button, become a member, or upgrade your member, or give some memberships.
It's like Limey Panda said here in the super chat. Said they'll look sexy Centurions. I was basically trying to figure out what I could use them as.
Obliterators.
And I was like, obliterators. The thing I like about Horus Heresy, Games Workshop probably don't like the concept of it, but is that you can use a lot of it in 40k, and I think there are things that can be done. So like Horus Heresy Marines are just Chaos Legionnaires.
Well, the Heresy Marines have been scaled up a little bit now, haven't they?
Yeah.
Are they quite comparable to Primaris or not?
Not Primaris, but Firstborn stuff in like Death Watch, Thousand Suns.
So they're comparable-ish.
They're comparable-ish. They're a bit smaller. Basically, they're comparable to the Chaos Space Marine.
So if you built, for example, 20 Space Wolf Legion warriors, you could use them probably as Grey Hunters, and it would be fine. You could use them between the two. Is what I'm saying.
Oh
right?
yeah.
So that's, and if you built Saturnine Space Wolf There's a reason why I'm saying Space Wolves, obviously. If you built Saturnine Space Wolf Terminators, you could probably use them as Centurions in your Space Wolf.
Yeah, because their bases look quite big. So you wouldn't be able to use them as a Terminator, but you'd probably be able to use them as a
Not quite.
as a Centurion. Because I think, by the looks of it, I think they're on 50s.
Yeah.
We haven't got the box set, so we're not giving anything away.
Yeah, we haven't got the box set.
So,
and I would imagine that by now, if I was a guessing man, I'd guess by now that some people have got the box set, and we haven't, and that makes me really sad.
I've seen enough posts in social media to know that they're out in the world.
Are they? Boo! It means we're not going to get it. Big sad. We did last Heresy edition. We did 3 whole streams of Horus Heresy.
We did more actually, because we also did 2 learn to plays over the lunchtime.
Oh yeah, so like 4 to 5 whole streams of Heresy.
What
more do you want?
We have also used a lot of the Horus Heresy stuff for 40k. So we've got Horus Heresy tanks in the Space Marines. We've got the big boy knights. Like I've got Castellax robots as
a
blitz. Like a lot of it is comparable across. Like everyone's using Spartans as Land Raiders.
Just cooler.
They just look nicer. I really like the Land Raider, but I refuse to use the Chaos Land Raider because it's just a loyalist one with spikes. I want a Chaos Land Raider, but why don't? I just don't want to see what they kind of come up with. What really annoyed me is they did that Land Raider special day, didn't they? Where they talked about 50 years of Land Raiders or whatever it was, and then didn't give us a new Land Raider.
Do you remember when you used to be able to make your own?
Your own Land Raider.
Make your own data sheets, stuff like that. And one of them was like Land Raider, I think.
What there used to be there used to be a lot of Horus Heresy versions of the Land Raider, but also the Forge World versions of the Land Raider. There was like the Helios that had like the Thunderfire cannon on it. There was another version which had like loads and loads of heavy bolters. There was just like loads of really cool versions of the Land Raider, and they all kind of just drifted away.
Boo.
Boo.
And now Chaos only have one.
Well, they only have 2 transports.
Yeah. Land Raider Runners.
Where's the Dreadclaw? We saw the artwork. They're in all the books.
I really want a Dreadclaw.
I've got a Dreadclaw. The thing is, though, I've got loads of Horus Heresy stuff at home that, like, I've probably got enough that I can field most of a Night Lord's Horus Heresy army. I just need to get it finished, built, and painted.
Okay.
I do have enough Horus Heresy bits at home. We could probably do, if we do get the new box set, as Space Wolves.
I want. So if they don't send us one, I don't think they will by now. I'd like to buy one at some point. I'd like to. Whether we can afford that or not is another matter, but I'd like to. 100%. Because I think it's really nice. And I would like to get my hands on all the new books, because I think they're really, really nice. I'm genuinely quite interested in this.
And Daddy John's coming over at some point.
I would also like to see if it's possible on occasion to. Don't worry, chat. We're not like some of those other lunatic channels. I'm not going to make the bold move to ditch 40k and switch to Horus Heresy and go, I don't know why my channel's shrinking. We're not going to do that because that's idiotic. But I would like to see if there was a way we can turn it into some content.
The thing is, though, I said to you the other day, I want to start doing my Instagram again, just so I can start. Obviously, there will be things I won't be allowed to post until specific dates, but I want to do my Instagram and push stuff. So if I do Horus Heresy stuff, we can do it on there. We have a way of creating some kind of content around multiple game systems then, but also like when Hobby House opens, I want to do Heresy events. I want to do 4K. I want to do AOS. I want to do Old World events. You know, and that's content in a way.
It is.
Maybe the top game, you know, can be streamed up here.
For the Heresy event is possible, maybe.
Or for like 40k events, you know, the winners table. You know, the last game of every event is streamed. Swear as much as you want. But the only thing is, you have to be entertaining. If you're boring, off.
There you go. I've just pinned Joe's Instagram account.
Oh.
So Joe is looking at adding some more photos in the future of stuff that he's painting and working on, and probably doing the same thing for preview stuff once we're allowed to under NDA. I'm terrible at posting to Instagram, so hit that link, follow Joe on Instagram, and then that's how you're going to potentially get more stuff in the future that's going on, sort of behind the scenes on the channel, I guess, but not quite behind the scenes. It won't be behind the scenes because it'll be allowed to be public at that point, right? So, here you go. You might get one more follower out of that. Do you remember what number you were on before you started?
3? I don't know. 4?
Anyway, thank you for those people that have gifted membership so far. We are on 35 so far. You guys are absolutely amazing. We're going to
2, 3, 4, 4.
2, 3, 4, 4.
Yeah. My last picture I put on there was
Your penis.
yeah. See, Sigmar actually.
Was it?
Yeah. So yeah, I haven't posted for a long time, but I'm going to start out. The problem with Instagram is that like they took away showing off hashtags, didn't they, on your feed?
Yeah. Your followed hashtags.
Your followed hashtags. So
Yeah.
I find it was a really weird one because it's like, then basically, how do you find new content?
I go to the Discover page.
The search feed.
Yeah.
Page, yeah.
That's how I do it.
That's a scary page, though, isn't it?
For you, I'm sure it is.
like,
Yeah.
If like it's your like discovery page is essentially a gateway to your mind, isn't it? Really, your algorithm mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched.
That's not true though, because if you spend a lot of time working on your algorithm and you're quite careful of what you like and what you engage with, you can curate it to such a way that your For You page is great and it looks great. It's like I get to a point where mine's full of like 40k and hobby and motorbikes and stuff like that. If you then don't go on Instagram for ages and just leave it alone for like 3 weeks as a bloke who's mid-30s, late 30s, and you go back to it, it's just full of half-naked women. I'm like, I haven't even been on the fucking website. How the fuck have you changed it? Eventually it goes, he's not watching. Why is he not looking? How do we bring him back in? He's 38, he's male.
Boobs.
He spends time near Joe. Give him all these naked ladies. I'm like, no, I don't want to see these things. Because all that happens is she'll look over my shoulder.
I don't want to see them.
I don't want to see the. And all that happens is then she looks over my shoulder and scathes at me. Why have you got all that on there? I was like, I don't know.
Because I exist. I like Warhammer, so therefore I like boobs. Yeah, but so I kind of stopped because I was just like, I can't grow if no one's going to find it. But also, like, I was watching Captain America: Winter Soldier yesterday.
Yeah. Okay.
The best Marvel film ever made.
You've said this a few times. Mm-hmm.
I would die on that hill.
It's not bad.
It is the best. And there's a bit where basically they've created these giant flying fortresses, essentially with big guns, and they use algorithms to kill people before they become a threat to the country. And the concept is they basically just kill 100,000 people, like kill 100,000 people, glide along, kill them. Basically, just kill people but it bases them solely on their internet profile and algorithm. And I'm like, ooh, that's like I don't feel like 100,000 people is enough if you're going on just pure algorithms. Because the internet thing, I like the fact that every time they design a new AI, it becomes psychopathic in less than 2 hours. You seen that? There was like, oh, Microsoft created an AI. It was like kill all humans very quickly. It was like 20 minutes on the internet, done. You know, 5 minutes on Reddit, done.
Can you believe? Can you?
I'm not surprised in the slightest.
Exactly.
Honest to God.
That's what we said at the start. Yeah. Humans ruin everything.
They do.
The best Marvel film is Blade.
Blade Trinity. It's not. It's awful. But the thing I like about Blade Trinity is that it's awful fun. It's awfully good fun.
So you haven't actually told me whether you do or don't like the Saturnine stuff in general.
I like it now.
Right.
I didn't like it when I first saw it.
When you first saw it via Potato Cam?
Yeah.
Or when you first saw it when Games Workshop released it
I didn't like it when I saw it via Potato Cam. I didn't like it when Games Workshop actually showed it off. I was like, that looks stupid.
Okay.
But the more versions they've shown outside of... I'm like, it's not bad.
Yeah.
A lot of my issues stem with Horus Heresies. Like, I'm very excited about, like, where they go, oh, we've got new jump marines coming. I'm like, yeah. And they do the same thing they always do, where you've got 3 units of 20 assault marines in Horus Heresy, and they're all flat foot glued to the floor static pose. And I'm like, oh,
why have you done that?
why? I want like dynamic poses.
Well, because conversely, you have assault instances with jump packs, and they're beautifully well done.
Yeah, and every time I talk to a Heresy player, they're like, "Oh, we don't want dynamic poses. We just want." And I'm like, why?
Who doesn't want dynamic poses?
Boring people.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, I want like because they're like in Horror's Heresy, an individual Space Marine isn't special. And I'm like, but then why do the books exist?
But they are.
They're all
Special.
you know, and
Especially in
that's
Joe's
why you
world.
have special characters.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I want to feel like a battle's not going, and not that I'm just in kind of like some statue museum.
The little rank and file ready to be inspected.
Yeah. The only ones that really get away with it are Breacher Marines, because they are literally like locked in.
But that's arguably dynamic in itself.
That is
relevant to their role, right?
Someone said, and like I think the Plastic Breacher Marines has. I want Breacher Marines. I've been begging for Breacher Marines for ages.
Ein says the best one though. I drop my models. I want them solid. I get that.
Yeah, I build them, paint them. Everything's held together with like poly cement, you know, and then it's like, and then you just cover them in what's the spray stuff they put on cars? Lacquer. Lacquer spray them so they're like rock hard.
They bounce.
Yeah. Yeah, the Breacher Marines. I had loads of Breacher Marine. I had a Salamander's army for Heresy before the first plastic box set came out.
Yeah.
It was a full drop pod Salamander's army. Like I had like 30 Breachers, 30 of the Pyroclast Flamer guys. I had like 10, 20 of the Salamanders, the Fire Drakes, the Terminators, the Fundamental Storm Shield. I had Vulcan. All in drop pods. It was fucking. I love that army so much, but I don't know what to play with.
Ah,
because I don't play Heresy. I love that army. I sold it to some guy, and then about 3 months later, they announced the plastic box set. I was raging.
I bet.
So angry. I was like, ah! And then everyone was playing Heresy.
Kev just says, working like a business engaged section for posted info on the Saturnine Terminators themselves. Let's have a look, shall we? Let's go and have a little goosey gander about this information that they have apparently just come up with. James Workshop. I'm pressing buttons here and I'm making sound
lacquer.
effects.
Hardly know her. I used lacquer on. I know a lot of people use the Halfords clear lacquer for when they're doing oil washes. I use it on like terrain as well.
Rules in the Age of Darkness. Saturnine Terminators take to the field. And some of the artwork, by the way, that they're showing with these things is cool as shit. And the artwork is when I'm like, yeah, the shoulders come in underneath the head. It makes sense. These are all like... Anyway.
Basically, it's because they were like the first like siege unit. So
they
the big shoulder pads basically close around the head.
They look sick.
Protective
I'm a fan of them, right? Saturnine Terminators are among the most advanced, durable, and lethal warriors to walk the battlefields of the Age of Darkness, so you can imagine they're pretty tasty on the tabletop too. Their basic profile is solid across the board, but it's their incredible durability that really shines through. They have a toughness of 6, 3 wounds, and a 2+ armor save backed up with a 4+ invulnerable. That's about as solid as it gets for infantry. In Heresy specifically, because some of you will be going,
I can understand one of the reasons why people complained about the current edition of Horus Heresy is that elite units didn't feel elite, because like it's like that you had like 1 wound Terminators and 1 wound elite infantry, and some Terminators had 2 wounds, and so it's like people were like, oh, my elite stuff doesn't feel elite because it dies like a normal Space Marine.
Yeah.
Just three wounds
is big in Heresy.
Is character numbers.
It is very rare to get infantry with 3 wounds in Age of Darkness, as are guns dealing more than 2 damage, which means Saturnine Terminators can withstand heavy hits from disintegrators, las cannons, and plasma weapons. There's a trade-off as they are slow with low movement and initiative, so they won't be motoring around the battlefield and are usually swinging last in melee. Luckily, there are some mitigations for their lack of movement. So it gives us our statistics here. You've got the Saturnine Terminator and Saturnine Terminator Sergeant. Their profiles are exactly the same. They've got a movement of 5, weapon skill, business skill 4. I missed those. A strength of 4, a toughness of 6, wounds of 3, initiative of 3, which is below the standard 4. Attacks 2, and then we've got Joe's new favourites: leadership of 8, LD, coolness of 8, CL. Yep.
Coolness.
Yep.
Yeah.
WP, which I forget what it is.
Weapon penis.
I forget what weapon penis is.
Weaponized penis.
And then IN, which is
Initiative.
no, that's I. IN is yep, another one of 7. So 8877. I can't remember what they stand for.
Aren't
now.
they different leaderships? They're like different leadership values, aren't they?
They're traits that relate to different things. So save is now Sav 2+, and then invulnerable 4+, right?
Yeah.
I forget what WP and IN is. I know CL is cool because it annoyed me. Willpower, thank you. Willpower is one of the was WP. They're willpower, and then IN is another one which I forget what it is. It's not initiative because that's just I. I forgot in chat. I can't remember what it is. I did a whole show about it not too long ago.
Interesting nipple.
Interesting nipple.
Yeah.
Intelligence. Intelligence, thank you. Of course it is. Intelligence. Yeah, IN is intelligence. I is initiative, IN is intelligence. So they've got leadership, coolness, willpower, intelligence.
It just feels like they're like D&D stats, aren't they, really?
A little bit, but I'm here for it. I like it. I do. I need to see how it works properly on the tabletop, but the concept I like. And I said this last night. I am so badly burnt by 10th edition's marketing and rules announcements before it came out, where I got hype, and it came out, I was like, this is a fucking mess, that I am nervously saying, I like the concept. I like the idea. I like the idea of it being more or more rogue tradery, more roleplay, but I need to see how it's implemented on the tabletop, whether it's just a bunch of pointless characteristics they've added for the sake of it, or whether they actually have meaningful interactions. Because for the most part, Battle Shock in 10th edition, for example, was a new thing, and it still mostly means fuck all.
Yeah.
It does have an impact. It has more of an impact now than it did at the start, and it happens every now and again. But before it didn't. Solar Auxiliary Ogren Intelligence 2, let the Space Marines Intelligence 7. I like the concept.
Yeah, I'm tempted to get the Admech done for it.
The Heresy stuff.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's stunning.
It's so pretty.
I might have an aneurysm building it. But...
So you have a Plasma Bombard, a Saturnine Disruption Fist, a Oculux Targeting Auspex, and a Thermal Diffraction Field. Oh, fuck it. I'm getting dangerously into Heresy at the moment, Joe, by the way. Special rules, bulky 4, explode 6 pus, implaceable advanced, slow and purposeful. Oh, slow and purposeful, do you remember that? Oh, I remember that. Saturnine Terminator, so slow and purposeful used to mean if you moved with a heavy weapon, you didn't suffer the negative penalty to shoot, which was good. I think it's still the same. Any model in the unit can have its Saturnine Disruption Field exchanged for Disruption Fist exchanged for one of the following: a Plasma Bombard, Twin Heavy Disintegrator, etc., etc. Every model has an Oculix Targeting Auspex, which effectively means they can shoot 2 guns if they stand still. Implacable Advanced means they can volley fire with their guns when being charged, for example. The Plasma Bombard is their default gun, effectively a plasma cannon that doesn't need line of sight. One unit of Saturnine Terminators set up in an obscured position and sporting 2 of these each can threaten a vast portion of the battlefield with relative impunity. The midfield becomes a no-go area for enemy infantry foolish enough not to be able to transport. So it's got sustained fire, whatever that means, 24-inch range, FP of 1, firepower of 1, RS, range strength of 6, AP of 4, damage of 1, special rules, blast 3-inch, barrage 1, breaching 6+ plasma. That's for sustained fire. For maximal fire, the strength goes up to 7, everything else stays the same, but it gains overload 2 and breaching 5+. Which I assume overload 2 is like a gets hot mechanic.
Yeah.
If I'm
a lot of keywords again.
Which I like keywords, and when they first announced it in the original Heresy, or not the original Heresy, the current Heresy 2.0, I was all for the keywords. And then what they did is they laid it out like they put them in a washing machine and opened the door.
I think how they organised the books for keywords might make or break it for me.
It's what happened for me for 2.0.
Yeah, because I'm
100%, Jay.
Because I kind of saw past it before because everyone was really getting into it. I really like Heresy. I try to learn it. People are like, oh, it's fine. But it's like now it's like, but I don't want to go back to a book and go, well, the keywords for this are in the plasma section, and they're over in this book here, but the plasma weapon might have multiple keywords, and they're spread out in different.
And this is what
I'm like, just give me one section of a book.
This is what all the fucking flat murdered 2.0 for me. So what murdered 2.0 for me is if you were trying to make, you had the generic rule book, then you had the chaos book, and I was looking at Leviathan dreadnoughts. And they had keywords on the weapon systems. The weapon systems for Leviathans weren't on the same page as Leviathan. The weapon systems for Leviathans weren't on a separate page together either. One of them was in the grav section, one of them was in the other cannon section, and one of them was because they were different types of weapons. So you're like, I can take this weapon to go and find the page that weapon's on just to get its statistics, which would then give me a bunch of keywords. Some of those keywords were in the main rule book. Some of those keywords were in the chaos book. Both of them weren't where the weapon was, nor were they where the dreadnought was. So you're like, oh, now why am I looking at 5 pages to figure out what one fucking weapon does for a dreadnought?
Yeah.
And that, genuinely, is what made me not want to get into 2.0 back then. It was literally that reason. I bought the books, I started going through it, and when I had 2 fucking great big thick books open trying to flick between pages, I was like, oh, fuck this. Whoever laid that out should have been fired.
It's because, like, we're kind of spoiled in 40k and Age of Sigmar, right? Because when you look at what a unit does, it fucking tells you what the unit does.
Yeah.
Right, so it's got a gun. What does the gun do? It's on a data sheet.
It's right there.
It's right there, right? I don't have to flick through 2 400-page books.
Yeah.
And that's what really gripped me with Horus Heresy. And I was just like, I refuse to learn to play this game on my own, and I want someone to teach me to play it because I do not have the patience to go through these books because I will lose my shit. And Games Workshop themselves shot themselves in the foot by, again, not creating an app for it. It can't be that hard to make an app for Horus Heresy.
Well, no, it won't be that different to what we've got. What they need to do...
Just take the 40k one and just fucking reskin it.
What they need to do, if they're not stupid, they can have... Do you know what they can do, Joe? Is they can have the books laid out the exact same they were before. Yeah. That's fine. They can do that. And all they need to do is release a separate standalone booklet that includes all of the universal special rules and keywords from all of the heretic, loyalist, and main rule books in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
And have that as an addendum. Just add it on.
Yeah.
Right. If you had that booklet alone would have saved 2.0 for me because I could go on. I could take a grav bombard. I found the grav bombard. It's got these weapons. I opened up my keyword book, and I know I'm still looking at 3 different books here, but I haven't got to flick back and forth. Yeah. Just got keywords in front of me.
The thing is, though, once you learn the game and you played it more, these things become known knowledge to you. So you don't have to flick through it. But in terms of accessing the game in itself, it was a nightmare. But it's like, I fucking love the models, though. Every single one of those models, I want to own, I want to build, I want to paint, and I want to use them on the table. But using them on the table was the most frustrating part of the entire process.
Yeah.
But once we had John come here and show us the game, I was like, yes, I feel like I can play this now.
Yeah.
Because I'm a doer learner. I'm not a reader learner or a watcher learner. I have to do to learn.
Yeah, I can read and watch to learn.
Yeah.
But doing will solidify it. Anyway, the plasma bombards look decent, right? If you think about range strength, it's very different to 40k. So you might think that range strength 6 sounds bad, but it still wounds toughness 4 on 3s, and it's actually okay at punching through certain armor because of how armor works. You then go into twin heavy disintegrators that you can have. So twin heavy disintegrators are a more direct option, and once again you can take 2 of each. They're devastating elite infantry and dreadnoughts. So they are 24-inch range, firepower of 2, range strength of 7, AP2 damage 2. Now AP in Heresy chat works very, very differently to 40k. So AP doesn't mean the number you take off of the armor save. AP means if it's equal to or less than the armor value you have, then you just don't get any armor. So AP2 would ignore Space Marine armor quite comfortably. In fact, even Terminator armor. And damage 2 is quite rare in Heresy. Well, it's not that rare, but it's rarer than it was before. The Saturnine Disruption Fist, or rarer than it is in 40k, I should say. The Saturnine Disruption Fist is an exotic version of the classic Terminator archetype. It hits with fearsome strength and damage, Joe. So one squad can wreck a medium vehicle, kill enemy Terminators with Custodians with a single punch. You can supplement your short-range threat with a particle shredder or a template weapon. So the actual Disruption Fist, I don't know what IM is.
Impotent.
IM is initiative modifier of -2. So your initiative goes from 3 to 1, which means you're basically strikes last, right? AM is A,
Attacks modifier?
Yep. And when it says A, it's just your attacks. And your attacks is 2. I've been learning little bits, right? So AM is attacks modifier.
Yeah.
And if it's A, it's just your attacks that's on your profile, which is 2 for these guys. If it was +1, obviously that would go to 3. SM, strength modifier, is +2. So they're base strength 4, they go to strength 6.
Yeah.
AP is 2, damage is 3. Damage 3 is a big deal in Heresy.
It's like a weird jumble of like different game mechanics from throughout the years, which I don't necessarily mind, but it's just a bit. It's just new. It's changing it, and because they brought in charge modifiers as well. So if you charged over a certain amount of inches, that then became an initiative modifier.
The thing is, it's true with any kind of real change. The second we see the change, it's different to what we know before. A lot of us are going to go, don't like it, it's shit, why have they changed it, it's rubbish, hate it. And then eventually what happens is you settle and you go, okay, and then and sometimes, a lot of times actually, not all the time, but a lot of times you go, right, this makes sense. I see why they've done it this way.
Yeah, I do think that as a game system and how complicated it is, Games Workshop have to release an app for this game. I think it's a make or break, right? Because at the moment,
interesting.
If you assume that the internet doesn't exist, right? And you want to write an army list.
That's how we make money, John.
Right? You do it by pen and paper, right?
Oh yeah.
Or an Excel spreadsheet.
I use Excel spreadsheet. You use pen and paper.
And or paper plate.
Right?
Or a paper plate. Whatever comes to hand, right? You write your fucking army list on that. And
Leroy.
Yeah. But
Smearing
now,
shit.
if you want to write an army list for Horus Heresy, you have to use Battlescribe, right? And Battlescribe takes fucking ages to get updated because obviously I think he's almost binned it. I haven't used Battlescribe in ages. Last I heard, Battlescribe is basically being held together by hopes and dreams, but that might have changed. But obviously you have to wait for Battlescribe to receive all the information and then upload it to the app. And then sometimes when you go, I want to know what that is, you click on the button and it goes, look at page blah of the rulebook. And it's like, I have this app, so I don't have to look at the rulebook, right? And there's probably websites that you can probably make the army list on as well. But it's like, if Games Workshop made a Horus Heresy app as good and efficient as the 40k app, I think Horus Heresy as a whole would thrive.
I'm inclined to agree with you.
Because it's a one-stop button press, and you can, and also let's not kill ourselves. The Horus Heresy books are fucking massive. They are beautiful, but they weigh a ton, and there's a chance you're going to have to carry 2 massive books around.
It also depends on how they implement it as well. So, for example, right, if we look at, we've got the Praetor here as well, okay? And his profile isn't too dissimilar, apart from he's wound 6 instead of 3, he's initiative 4 instead of 3, he's attacks 4 instead of 2, his leadership's 10, his coolness is 9, his willpower and his intelligence are both 9 as well, right? So, and he's got a couple of different rules. But he has access to either the Saturnine War Axe or the Saturnine Concussion Hammer.
The Saturnine Lorax?
War Axe.
He speaks for the trees?
Yeah. Or the Concussion Hammer, okay? This one we have is Saturnine War Axe or Saturnine Disruption Fist, etc. So you can take the Fist as well. So he's got options to have the Fist. We now know that the Fist is -2 initiative, normal attacks, +2 strength, AP2 damage 3. If we look at the War Axe, it is the initiative 4. Its attacks modifier is its attacks, so 4. Strength modifier +1, AP2 damage 2. If we look at the Concussion Hammer, its initiative is -3. Its attacks is its attacks. Its strength is ×2. Its AP is 2 and its damage is 3. So if they're going to make an app, what I want them to do is when you select the weapon that you're picking on your particular Saturnine Praetor in Saturnine Terminator armor, right? What I would like them to do is when they show that weapon profile, to do the calculations for you, which is not difficult.
No.
So if you pick the hammer...
And then it highlights it in red.
Yeah, if you pick the hammer, instead of saying initiative modifier 3, you just put him in initiative 1 in melee, and instead of saying attacks modifier, you just put his number in there. Instead of saying ×2, you just put the ×2 strength in that box. And if you did that when you went to the like, what's it called now? Not the battle. There's the
Data sheet?
Yeah, you got the data sheet, but you've got it in the mode when you're playing the game.
Yeah, I know, yeah. 4C McBattle Force.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
don't you?
yeah, I know.
When you're in that section of the app, if that is then you've selected this war gear, we only show you this war gear, and we'll show you it with the modified profiles. That'd be fucking banging.
Yeah.
It'd be really good.
I just think that for many years, like Horus Heresy, even Old World, right, the Necromunda, they're all being serviced by third-party companies that aren't really getting paid for it. So obviously, it's one of those. It's free. We'll supply you all the information we can be bothered to supply you with. Be grateful you have it.
Skull mode, exactly, John. Yeah, that's the one. Skull mode.
And whereas if Games Workshop supply it, like they have an incentive because they charge you. Me. So like they have an incentive because you're paying for that app, right? And how many Horus Heresy players out there are not giving Games Workshop money for an app? You know, I have no.
Well, I don't know how big the Heresy crowd is, but
It's big. It's big enough for them to really put the effort in.
the Heresy crowd will tell you.
Look at Horus Heresy compared to Old World, right? Because I know how much you have to shit on Old World.
It's
One of your favourite pastimes.
I don't like shitting on Old World. I really wanted to
Phones
play
me at
Old
2
World.
o'clock in the morning. He's like, that fucking Old World.
I really wanted to play Old World. What I didn't want to do was buy 25-year-old models
Yeah.
at 2025 prices.
That
was it. If Old World would have released, and this is never going to happen, and I don't know why I was expecting it because it's a stupid thing. When you think about it, it's a stupid thing to ask for. But if they would have released Old World with the same, whatever it was, 9 factions, and all of them would have had 2024, 2025 model refreshes for everything, I'd have been in real danger.
I think that's what they should have done. They should have gone, all this stuff's Legends. If you own the models for it, fill your boots, right? But we're only supplying these 9 factions, and they're all getting new models, but in a reduced capacity.
Yeah.
Done. I think that would have been great. But Horus Heresy, realistically, as a game system, is as a company that creates that game system, is the perfect game system, right? Because you make one box of Space Marines, right, of Legionnaires, right? Every single person in your player base buys it, right? You build a tank, every single person buys it, right? No matter what you release, everyone that plays that game will buy that box set because everyone's playing the exact same fucking
It's
army.
one of the most efficient ways to create miniatures.
Yeah, because they're like, everyone is buying one type of box and then they're just painting the different colours, and then we have our offshoot bit, which is Forge World, where you can buy your custom transfers, your shoulder pads and stuff to personalise those models, but realistically, everyone is playing the same army. And then it means like armies like Solar Auxilia, Admech and Custodes are not a huge deal in terms of content, in terms of creating them, because they're much smaller factions, and you don't have to stock as much because they're not as widely played or easy to get hold of. I think as a design philosophy for a game system, I think it's brilliant in terms of monetizing. So I think for Games Workshop, if they want to keep monetizing that, I think they have to do the app. They have to. They might not, but I think if you go, a lot of people that I talk to that play Horus Heresy are disenfranchised 40k players. I find that with all of Games Workshop's offshoot games, they're all disenfranchised 40k players. We all got into Warhammer because 40k.
They're all. What you're saying is they're all people that have thrown a temper tantrum because the game they like has changed a little bit.
The truth hurts.
Stomped off.
Yeah.
But they haven't stomped off that far because they're still giving Games Workshop their money.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you know, I really don't like this major city I live in, so I'm going to live in the village next door to it and hurl abuse at them across the fence. You know, and I don't like London anymore. You know, I'm moving to Kent and just giving
It's
them
also,
the finger.
I hate Audi, so I'm going to buy a Volkswagen.
Yeah,
It's the same as that.
yeah. So and I think so. Like, and everyone has that potential to come back in as well.
Yeah.
And Horus Heresy, I think Games Workshop have got a great deal with it, because if you buy a Traitor Legion for Horus Heresy, you have a 40k army.
Don't you let Mr. McCardle hear you saying that.
Right, you do.
He's not going to be happy about
If
hearing
you have a
say
Solar
that.
Auxilia army, you have a 40k army.
I think is more accurate.
If you have a Custodes army, you have a 40k
As
army.
is that one, I'll be honest.
If you had an Admech army, you kind of have that you kind of have a 40k army. There was a guy at the Golden Ticket the other day, which I got best in faction.
Did you?
I did. I haven't mentioned it.
You haven't
I've
mentioned
kept it
it.
secret
Are
until
you
now.
still? You're not still wearing it?
No, it's over there. And his Admech army was beautiful, and it had loads of Horus Heresy Admech stuff in it.
Yeah.
And he had one of my favourite Admech units, which is like the servitors are like bent over, the little bugheads with double guns, and he was using them as destroyers. And I was like, yes, because I fucking hate the destroyer. The destroyer and breacher models I hate with a passion. They just look stupid. But he found, I was like, I'm stealing your idea because that's really, really good. So like, if you play Horus Heresy, you are capable of playing 40k. Same with the demons as well. That like the demons of the Ruin Storm, or they do bend you over and steal your wallet with the Heresy demon stuff. It's fucking extortionate. But like they have a gateway drug to get you in, and I think that they need to cultivate the Heresy people more. You know, and and people that play Heresy aren't paying for Warhammer Plus.
But do they
They're
want
not paying
to
for the app?
bring people from Heresy into 40k? I feel like what they want to do is they want to get people from 40k into Heresy.
They want to cross pollinate, don't they?
Yeah.
They want people playing all of their game systems, right? It's people like me and you that are the perfect customers because we'll just buy it. You know,
We're also weird customers because we make a living off of it, so that's why we can afford the time to put into all of these different things.
yeah.
And I think that's one of the big things people are going to struggle with Heresy, specifically looking at the level of granularity they seem to be going into, which, as I've said, I'm here for it. I think it's cool. But there's people that play for fun, and they play maybe once a month, and they're going to look at some of those rules, and they might go, I can't be bothered.
Yeah,
too much.
But I think if you buy like a Night Lord's Horus Heresy army, right, and you go, I bought the Terminators, I bought all the characters because I like the characters from the books.
Yeah.
Like I've got the Raptor units, I've got a bunch of Legionnaires, got some Riders, got some Land Raiders. And you go, oh, it's a bit much. You could take that exact army that you've bought and just go and play 40k people at 40k. And they're like, cool, welcome. The water's nice and warm, you know? Very sweaty, but very warm.
Yeah, tepid maybe, actually.
Yeah. And that's so. But I do find it really weird that with Heresy players, because it is a pseudo historical game, they don't like it going the other. You know, the shit flows downhill. You know, not uphill. Like if you take 40k stuff to a Horus Heresy event, like they're like no. But I have noticed that if it's painted and converted really nicely, they're more accepting.
Yeah.
So I've noticed a lot more.
I've always sort of felt like Heresy is more hobbyist based than perhaps.
Yeah.
Hobbyist is not the right word for it, because I think that people are just more keen on the correct paint scheme, and I think it's you said it yourself in the past. It's more, actually Chris has just said it in chat, it's more historical war game than perhaps 40k is.
Yeah, and
So if you turn up to a 40k event with a custom painted chapter where you've made your own lore, most people are going to go, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
If you turn up to a Heresy event like that, they're going to go, no, they weren't in the Horus Heresy.
At Heresy events, you turn up with a custom thing. You're like, oh, well, actually, this is one of the Lost Legions. They look at you like a fucking lunatic. Like, how dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you have fun in the wrong way?
Talking about lunatics, we have had some wonderful people try and support the channel, Jay.
Yeah, how dare they?
How dare they? We are, chat, already on 40 new members. Thank you, you wonderful humans. Mr. the Tribune, thank you for 5 gifted memberships.
Thank you, Tribute. I hope that this weekend you get invited to a barbecue and you just have to turn up. You don't have to bring anything, you don't have to do anything. You arrive when the meat is cooked and you can eat and you can enjoy it, and then you can have some drinks and then go home.
Strong.
There's a lot of waiting at barbecues. It really puts me off.
A lot of waiting?
Yeah.
Why?
Because
Stood around the barbecue drinking a beer, cooking meat is part of the charm of a barbecue, Jay.
nah.
Yeah.
I find that barbecues are just a lot of hard work for what can be accomplished with a takeaway.
It can't be accomplished with takeaway. You can't stand there as a man in the sunshine with your tongs and your beer cooking meat with a
I
takeaway.
fucking hate it. I hate it so much. So I hope that you have a nice chilled barbecue. I hate every time I get invited to a barbecue, I always end up cooking it, right? And I hate it because I associate it with my old work. I think I just associate barbecues with work.
If you came to a barbecue at my house, you wouldn't have to cook because I
and then
wouldn't
can I
let
just
you.
sit in your office and play computer games?
I wouldn't let you cook.
No. Then you got to sit in the sun, which I also hate doing.
I love it. I am a lizard.
I hate it. There's nothing worse than sitting there being uncomfortably hot, sweating. You know, and there's the etiquette of like I want to go and sit inside, you know, and just not be hot.
I bask.
I hate it.
You know, I sometimes today I'll go and sit in the car park for half an hour in the sun.
Yeah, 'cause you're fucking weird.
Energizes me like a battery.
I parked in the garage under the building today because obviously
I did notice when I turned up that you'd opened the garage.
Basically, because I couldn't be bothered to walk upstairs while I was on the phone, so I was like, I'm not sitting in the sun, so I opened the garage and parked in there so I could be on the phone still.
Yeah, okay.
And not sweat. Because last time I just cooked myself for about 40 minutes.
You know the bonus with mobile phones?
Yeah.
Is that they're mobile?
Yeah, well, I had loads of stuff to carry up the stairs as well, so I was just like, I didn't want to hang up.
Okay.
So I was just like,
Right, okay.
just do it that way.
Whitey55, thank you for 5 gifted memberships.
Thank you. I hope that you have a Star Wars weekend and you watch all the Star Wars films, you know, with no judgment from family and friends. You just sit there and just eat whatever you want, drink whatever you want. Yeah. I got given... Mike says Joe was too sleepy to walk up the stairs. Me, Josh, and Mikey played Elden Ring until 2 o'clock this morning.
Well, why don't you marry him then?
I'd like to, actually. I think he'd be a wonderful husband.
Who, Mikey or
Yeah.
Josh? If you had to marry Mikey or Josh, which one would it be?
I say Mikey because he's watching. The problem was it was like we failed one of our runs, and then it was one of those ones where I looked at my clock and I was like, it's 1:15. And the game crashed. That's why we failed the run. And they're like, one more, and I was like, I suppose.
Yeah.
They're not. You don't do quick runs in Elden Ring. It's good. So me, Mikey, and Josh are new 3 best friends. You don't invite me to your games now anymore. I've noticed.
I don't. Well, because you're always working you're always busy when I'm playing them on weekends. It was like doing family stuff and shit on a weekend. Like, I can play games today. You're like, no, because Tamsin won't let me.
Well, no, it's because we're like planning to do stuff.
Yeah.
In advance. Some of those people.
So I stop when you keep saying no. I stop asking.
I wish I could be one of those people that's like, I have a family. I do not communicate with them. There's times where I wish I could just do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But Mikey has learned that I'm also, despite putting nearly 20 plus hours into Elden Ring, I'm still dog shit at it.
Well, that's another reason why I wouldn't play that game anyway, because I'm bad at those kinds of games if they're easy to be good at.
What was really annoying is that before he turned up, me and Josh basically, because you have to it works in a 3-day cycle. So day 1, like an extraction studio, you land, you collect stuff, power yourself up, get equipment, and then you fight a boss at the end of the first night. And then after that one, you go and get more stuff to power yourself up and level yourself up more, to then fight another boss on the second night. And then once you've done that, you go and fight another big boss who's like a super boss, right? And before Mikey turned up, me and Josh was just like bam, 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 nailing it every time. And then as soon as he turned up, I was just fell apart. You know? The essence of Mikey being there just like threw me.
Yeah.
Just died all the time.
Just so desperate to impress him.
I was just a burden. I went from being really good at the game, showing off, you know, like not being hit, doing the cheeky dodges, getting a stab, you know. And then he just turned up, and then I was like, boom, dead. And I was just like, you know.
I don't like games where you have to fight big bosses.
No?
I've always been terrible at them, so I don't like them.
Yeah. I'd never played Elden Ring. I never saw any concept of enjoyment or fun out of it from outside looking in.
All I ever saw was people just getting battered all the time.
Because it's a game that's intentionally difficult and hard.
Yeah, I don't
It's
like
literally hard on purpose.
No.
There is no difficulty levels. There is only one difficulty level, and it's called Bend Over. You know?
Okay.
After that famous actor. And I think, but Josh bought it for me, and I'm really, really enjoying it. Also, yeah, you get relics that you can basically like level your character up before you go into it.
Are they not called enhancements now?
They're kind of whatever, but it's similar. Basically, I did it, and as soon as Mikey turned up, I was fighting around my character. Game loaded, realised I'd basically turned all of my my bonuses off. It didn't help.
Okay. I'm really glad you're enjoying it, mate. It sounds like
It's really good, and
it sounds like my version of a nightmare.
because
for a
I'm
video
an
game.
incredibly good friend. Because Josh got it for me, I was like, I need to learn to get better at it because he wants to do well at this game, and I'm basically making it harder for him.
Well, I'd make it even harder again.
So I've been watching all the YouTubes on it, on like all the different builds, what the stuff to find, what all the loot to get, how to make your character better. And what really funks me off, right, is that like you watch people do the runs, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do a fucking. I play a character called Duchess. I'm going to do Duchess run. This is how to play Duchess. And you go in there, and oh yeah, I'll go over here, fight these people, pick up this thing, go over here, fight these people, pick up this thing, blah, 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 go pick up this thing. Now you have the build for the best version of Duchess, and then you go here and you farm these things, boom, 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 go and fight the boss, punch it 4 times, dead, right? I land, and it's like, have a potato, have a moulding apple, and I'm like, no swords, no enhancements, no cool gems. And it's like, every time I watch people play it, I'm like, how do you get all the cool shit? And when I play it, it's just like, it just hands me crap all the time. It's just problems.
Thank you, Lehman Russ, for the $5. The thing of pissing off the Heresy community is the new army list building. It's just like Legions Imperialis. Is it? Do you know about this? I don't know about this. I haven't looked at list building for Heresy yet.
So the list building is very similar. I actually don't mind the list building. It's basically like what we were talking about, the idea of like bringing back more of an enhanced CAD. So like, it's less free form. It's like if you take these characters, it's kind of AOS CAD.
Okay, I'm into it.
If you bring this character, you get access to these units. If you bring this character, you get access to these ones. Yeah. And I don't mind it so much. I think I've not played Legions Imperialis. It was one of those game systems that I wanted to play, but no one played it, nor did I have the time to build it and paint it.
Yeah,
I could have found the time to build it and paint it, but then it's like I've got no one to play it with.
I can't really help you, Lehman, I'm afraid, mate, because I don't really know what the list building's like, but I'll have a look into it, mate. Thanks for the $5 anyway. You're a legend. Thank you, Mr. Svenholio. I had to move on from the Elden Ring conversation because if Joe is bad at that game, I would be literally useless. There's no point even talking about it. Mr. Svenholio, we said we'd get you a nice hope. Joe's had plenty of time to think about one. Thank you, you absolute legend, for 20 gifted memberships. 20.
I hope a loved one buys you 2 bottles of fancy mead and a wonderful personal glass to drink it out of.
Well, that's quite nice. I like that. It's a nice hope, that one, mate.
That's what I got given on the weekend.
Yeah.
And I got this new Viking cherry mead,
Yeah.
which Tamsin ordered me. It's so smooth.
Cherry Mead's some of the nicest.
It's also very good for gout, as I discovered. She did the research. Cherries, good for counteracting gout.
Cherries might be, but as a mead, a fermented honey.
I've got to the point now where my diet is fine in the sense that I don't have the gout. If I have it, but it's not there.
There are only flare-ups.
It's like in
dormant.
Yeah, it's dormant. You know.
You're in remission.
Ready for when I've had enough and I drink 40 pints of cider or something.
Yeah, of course.
But like, if I want a week off, you know, you'll see me at a cider fair. You know, cider and cheese fair. So it's fine. So like drinking like mead, but the problem was, right, I went from a full bottle of mead to nearly empty bottle of mead in about an hour.
It's very easy, isn't it?
And it's just like down. It was so good. So much. Tamsin's never liked Mead, but she drank it. She's like, I'll do it. And this company that she found sells. You know the wine boxes.
Yeah.
Are those full of Mead?
Oh. The ones with like the little taps on the side.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
And I'm like, yes. And I got my own personalised glass, little J on it.
Oh.
Good. It was nice. It was fancy. I was just stood in the kitchen drinking Mead out of my fancy glass, cooking dinner.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, nearly all gone.
Oh. Whoopsie.
Yeah.
And I'm shit faced.
It was one of those ones where I was like, I feel very drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
But
the amount of times, I'll sit on a Friday night and I'll pour it in my big fucking mug that I've got on a stream, and by the end of the stream, I'm struggling to speak correctly. And I'm like, how much have I drank? I look at the bottle and go, oh shit, a lot.
I was talking to her about the concept that like why, like Mead is an old English drink because it was made by the church. The church used to make mead.
Is that true?
So like monks and priests used to keep bees. Although they were beekeepers and they used to make mead and give it to people. Like Friar Tuck famously made loads of mead. And I was playing the new Atomfall DLC this weekend, and it's about a little island away from it, and it's all about the concept that everyone's just shit-faced on homemade mead because it's got like a special ingredient in it.
I like mead.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you have a mead sponsor? Do they have a thing?
What would you mean to have a thing?
They have like a link?
Exclamation mark Mead?
Yeah.
Yeah. Evan, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships.
Evan, I hope that your TV is always the right brightness for every situation that you're watching or playing games on. So annoying, isn't it? When you sit down to watch it, you're like, oh, why is it really dark? I don't know. Why is it really bright? Super annoying. And then you have to sit there going through a million different things on the settings. A lot of my hopes today are based on my personal foibles that I've gone through over the last week.
I'm getting that impression, yeah.
Yeah. It's just one of those ones where I was like, I just can't find the right brightness for playing certain games, and it really bugs me.
Yeah. Scry, thank you for the $5. Templars are just word bearers with a better PR team. Changed my mind.
Yeah.
Are they though?
Yeah, so basically the word bearers basically were shunned because they worshipped the emperor as a god, and he was like, I'm not a god. And they're like, well, you're... It's one of those ones where like, they're like, but you are a god. You're the like, but I'm not a god. And it's a big argument, and then he was like, right, off you go. We don't like you anymore. Stop worshipping me. And he kind of censored them. Whereas now, he's not around to tell them no. So the Templars are basically the same. And they're all fucking lunatics as well.
So you agree with Scry, then, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Like, and they're all really, like, stubborn to a fault in the sense that, like, they're like, we've picked this, we put our banner down, this is where we're going to fight, and we're not going to step back, even if it means we'll lose the battle. They're a bit mental.
I think...
But they do look cool as shit.
The word bearers change though, because they don't worship the emperor as the god anymore. They literally worship the chaos gods.
They go to the chaos gods now, but the start of like the word bearer, the fall of the word bearers was the concept of religion. Like their whole ethos is based on religion, and all religion was banned. You know.
Okay. Whitey55, thank you for the $5. All hail our lords, Sir Tinyhead and Shovel Chaplain. I think that's from the cover art comment. I think.
Yes.
You can talk to him about. I'm actually going to do a U.
He does have a tiny head. Someone says, I'm disappointed the Black Templars only get the unique helmets for 2 characters. Should be an upgrade sprue to give them to the whole... I'm pretty sure there is one on the upgrade sprue.
Yeah, but only one. That's, I think, probably the problem. I'm going to do a U now. I'm going to use the bathroom halfway through.
Yeah, but the upgrade...
I've drank too much coffee this morning, Joe, because I'm not sleeping well at the moment.
And I think there are a couple of... I think there are, in the box set, the helmets that have the Primaris helmets that have the cross on it. or you can have the weird like bowl cut Dumb and Dumber hair styles as well if you want. But the thing is that I really like the Primaris Mark 10 helmet anyway. I think that's probably the best helmet I think they've ever done. I'm a big fan of the Beaky helmet, but the Beaky helmet doesn't fit well on some of the marks of armor. But the Primaris helmet works perfectly fine. Like the best version of it, I think, are the people that've got the Mark 10 helmets. If you're very good at it, they paint the Templar across the face, and that looks really, really, really good. The problem with those, the knightly ones, the flat top's very harsh on the silhouette of the model. I just go with them. I know there are some people on Etsy and eBay that sell like prints of fancy helmets that you can buy, but if you use the fancy helmet prints, you won't be able to use them at like official Games Workshop events because they'll be like they're good. If you can prove that you designed, printed, sculpted the fancy helmet yourself, if you could prove that, then fine. But if it's just an STL file that you've downloaded and printed off, then they're like, no.
Proving it's going to be difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
Scott, thank you for the $10. You're a legend with Saturnine. It depends upon the Legion. I can see them aesthetically fitting in the Salamanders, but not sure they have a place in my Mark III Imperial Fists. I'm looking forward to adding the Mark II. I'd have figured that Imperial Fists would be a Legion, a chapter that they would
have
fit
a lot
in.
of them, yeah.
I'm struggling to justify them in Space Wolves, but they're so cool. I'm going to have them.
I saw a picture of the Dark Angel version, and I'm like, oh, that is nice. I think the Dark Angel is probably the best Legion to have them because they've got like all the cool shit like locked away, haven't they? They're like, I've got all these WMDs everywhere, just in a cabinet. Because they're what were they called? The Dreadwing, weren't they?
Yeah.
I think the Saturnine make a really, really good like a Dreadwing army that you could do. I think I've seen pictures of them in the White Scars colour scheme and I don't like it.
Oh, really?
Because it doesn't...
The White Scars, I'm going to say something wildly controversial.
Yeah.
But the White Scars scheme that they've shown them in, I think, they're not very well painted.
Yeah, but also like the ethos and the concept of how the White Scars function. Movement 4, movement 5, heavy Terminators doesn't make sense. They've got they've got the Eben Keshik, which is the Terminators, but they're based on the Tartarus ones, which are like a faster version of Terminators. So, like, I think that makes sense, but there's not many of them. White Scar is an army I want to do for Horus Heresy, but it is also the most expensive one to do.
Why?
Because it has a ridiculous amount of forge-weld models that you have to buy in terms of resin, and then obviously if you want to take the bikes, but you can only buy the speeder bikes, and you need a lot of them, so it's just a bit more expensive because you've got to fill out points. You've got to buy more expensive boxes to fill up the points.
At this point, I've decided that the only thing I care about is Space Wolves.
Yeah, Space Wolves.
I was on the website. Excuse me. I was on the website this weekend because there was a Heresy article that came out, and I got excited. And I went through all the legions on the website, and honestly, I was like, Space Wolves, maybe Dark Angels for Heresy. I quite like some of their stuff, but for the most part, Space Wolves.
Well, that's what I was thinking, because like the box set, if we did get it, I have been thinking about the options in terms of what we do with it. So I can do a trade to Legion with it, like Iron Warriors, who fits well. I could do Night Lords to expand the Night Lords army for Horus Heresy in terms of like getting a bigger army for it. We can do Space Wolves because we've got the Space Wolves Terminators, we've got the Praetor, I've got loads of Space Wolf upgrades for Horus Heresy at home. And there is also Dark Angels because we do have the companions, what they're called, at home. The Deathwing ones. We've got the sexy Forge World Terminators. We have options for which ones we could do them in.
Okay. Excuse me, sorry.
And obviously, it would be helpful in terms of expanding the Dark Angels army. but then it's because they're all in the wrong colour scheme.
Yeah, we'll have to have a chat about it. I'm not entirely
There's
against.
4 legions that we could comfortably do them in any of them, and we have the Forge World models to back them up.
I'm not entirely against getting 2. If we were to do 1 in Space Wolves and 1 in whatever you said, Iron Warriors or something, or Night Lords, I'm not against that as a concept.
So
the bonus of the box is that you can put the whole box into 1 army.
well, that's what I think. That's what people buy the box sets for, though.
Yeah,
Like, everyone that buys that box set is not buying it to split it, unless they're a scalper. Obviously.
Thank you so much, Lion Panda, for the $5. The Saturnine Terminator is the only model that looks like it could actually go toe-to-toe with the Primarch and not instantly get folded like a lawn chair. Yeah, they do look like a pretty beefcakey.
He is a chunky boy, isn't he?
Yeah, and his profile's decent.
I'm
So,
interested to see what size base he's on. You know,
a big one.
he's a big one. Like,
80? So they're on 50s. So will he go up to 60 or will he go up to 80?
I'd probably go 60.
You reckon?
I reckon, because 80 is fucking. That's Terminator. No, it's Abaddon / Demon Prince. What's a Demon Prince on nowadays?
Tells in the app now, doesn't it?
Does it?
Yeah, where's my phone?
Where's the phone? Hang on.
So if you go to the app now, JJ,
Yeah.
this is magic, this is. Someone showed me this the other day.
Where are we?
I'll go to Space Wolves. To index.
Where's my-
data sheets.
Where's my army? Where's it gone? Did I delete my? Oh, there it is. Look. Abaddon. Lucky. Keywords. Unit composition. Oh, base size, yeah.
How good's that?
So Abaddon's on a 60.
Yeah.
That's big though, isn't it? Yeah, maybe. That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, they put all the fucking.
I do like that though,
It's cool, isn't it?
because there's times where I've played people, like I played someone that had like loads and loads of blood layers, like they had like 60 blood layers on the table, and they're on 25mm bases. And I know that they're on 32s now. And I wanted to go and say to the TO, this entire army is based wrong. But at the same time, I didn't want to sound like a little bitch.
Which you probably.
And that's the problem, isn't it? And the thing is, though, like, if I complained at the thing is, though, I also lost the game. So I look like a double bitch.
Yeah.
You're complaining and you lost, you're a bitch. Is if I was a TO, you know, I'd be like, stop being like a bitch. But if I'd said at the start of the game, your entire army is based wrong, I still sound like.
I think for me, the problem is though, I think for me, it partly depends on how the individual's playing. Like if they're making the most of 25mm bases, if they're like, oh, I can fit in the space, yeah, but if you want, like, do I care about a bloke who's running 60 bloodletters having them on 25mm bases because they can't be bothered to either buy new bases or put base? Yeah. I actually don't care. Like, fair play. If you're then going to go, oh, I can fit in this gap because you've left a gap between the wall and your model, but you're like, yeah, but only because you're on a 25mm base, which you shouldn't be on. So, like, I'm okay with you playing with 25mm, but come on, be real, you should be on a 30mm base, you would be able to fit in there. Like, do you know what I mean? I think that's where the line is for me personally.
Do you know what I need to find out now? Have they made an official decision on the Khan effects? Because Khan effects used to be on a big round base, didn't it? And then
they changed
they changed it to the fucking surfboard, didn't they?
Yeah.
Where is it? Where are you? Where are you?
But you're right, Dan. I do think that Primarch, that Saturnine model can go toe-to-toe Primarch. It's certainly in size and stature. He looks like he's almost going to be as big as fucking Logan on his rock. They pick surfboards.
Fucking surfboards.
Does that mean yours are on the wrong bases?
Yeah. That's so annoying. So I hate having to rebase minis. Me too. Me too.
Thank you, Mr. The Harborn Vortex Games, for the 5 gifted memberships! ! Vortex in chat. If you are in Flappy Head Canada land and you want to get some cool models from a cool dude who supports this channel, ! Vortex, check him out. Thank you so much, Harborn, for the 5 gifted memberships.
Thank you. Hang on. I need to check. I do find that warriors for Tyranids are called Tyranid warriors. Oh, they're on 50mm. Boo. Got to rebase all my fucking warriors now.
Well, they
as
have to be Tyranid warriors, not just warriors, because you also have Necron warriors who couldn't just be warriors, because then that app wouldn't work.
Yeah. Who am I saying thank you to?
Mr. Harborn.
Mr. Harborn.
Not stock
Not
related.
stock related. I hope that the shop next door to you becomes a cocktail bar that also does like takeaway cocktails.
Oh,
Right. Especially for the summer, like I am a slave to
cock.
the the freeze and squeeze cocktail.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
It's like think of like I guess for them it'd be like the Sunny D juice
I don't mean
bags.
to keep yawning at you, by the way. I've not sleeping well. I'm sorry.
And basically,
It's
you
not
put
you.
it in
You're
the freezer,
amazing.
And it freezes a bit, and then you snip it, and you squeeze it out, and it comes out like a slushy cocktail. Oh, why is it not legal to drink and drive in this country?
I know, it sucks, doesn't it?
It'd be because like they're so good. I drank so many last year, and I've not seen them anywhere this year, which is weird because they're always sold out. So why do companies do that? Oh, it's sold out. I won't make any more.
Thank you, Mr. Colton D, for the $10. I think Saturnine is the best representation of what tactical dreadnought armor should be, in my opinion. I am slightly more inclined to agree.
Yeah, so like what the Saturnine armor suffers with, which I find is a great thing that Games Workshop does, is they go, well, all technology is basically that we kind of use is lost technology. Like we don't have the means of, we have the ones that we have, and that is all. We can't produce anymore because we don't know how it's made. And if we deconstruct it to learn how it is made, that's what heretics do. So, don't do it as bad.
I think though, for the most part, if you were to compare a Mark 6 Space Marine to a Cataphractii Terminator armor, for the description of tactical dreadnought armor over a standard power armor Marine, they don't look different enough. They don't look big and bulky enough. And I'm fine with it because Terminator's been Terminator forever. But I think for the most part, if you were to take the superhuman Space Marine and tell them how amazing they are, but then you have this tactical dreadnought armor, which is like a walking tank and can walk through, then I think you would probably you'd be let off for going, well, that doesn't look like what that is as a Cataphractii Terminator.
Yeah.
Actually, that thing, the Saturnine, looks more like that.
Yeah, but I think the problem is like the concept of the war changed, I think, historically, and that's why they use Saturnine less, because Saturnine's a really good siege mentality armor that you can wear and just like drudge towards people and just fucking just eat it. But it's very, very slow. And I think the difference was because it's so big and bulky and slow, it wasn't as useful as the Cataphractii and the Tartarus because it allowed faster movement. It negated it gave up some of that resilience for speed, and that's always like the changes in the armor throughout the entire course of the history of when you went from iron armor all the way through to like the Corvus stuff, this Mark 6, because they were like, I just want to be faster and more agile and be more deadly than just stand there and just eat it.
Eat it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scry, for the $5. I'll probably use them for a 30k Night Lord's Force. Just kit bash the different marks of armor together. I like it. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I one thing I really, really like to see, and I know some Horus Heresy people hate it, is I love seeing Traitor Legion stuff with bits of the Chaos Space Marine armor in it.
Yeah.
So a lot of Chaos Space Marine, a lot of like the Traitor Legion people use the Chaos Space Marine legs and torso because it's all one piece, and then just swap out the arms because it's more representative of how the Traitor Legions were near the Siege of Terror.
Yeah, I guess a time frame's important there, right?
Because I'm always like, why don't Death Guard players in Horus Heresy use the new plastic Death Guard models? Because like all the artwork for the Siege of Terror that has anything Death Guard in it. It's just the new Death Guard stuff. And the what's it called? The little tank, the siege tank for Death Guard.
The Plague Best Crawler
is a redesign done by Mortarion or Perturabo of one of the Heresy marks of tank.
Is it?
Yeah. So it's like, can't you just use that?
I should have made something with caffeine in, I'll be honest.
Yeah? I did offer you coffee.
You did, and I'd had 2 already, so I didn't want to.
Well, surely you were complaining that I put my coffee spoon in your cup. Surely that should have had all the caffeine that you required.
No, it doesn't have the caffeine.
The big hoo-ha you made.
It makes a terrible flavour in the tea.
I sometimes like mixing the two.
Oh, no, Joe. No. You don't mix tea and coffee.
Like, it's like when you have it's like peanut butter and jam, isn't it?
I'm going to be making a coffee after this, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I was like, I've had 2 today. I don't want any more. It's too much caffeine. Craig, thank you for the 2,000 Japanese yen, which makes it a big orange one. I came back to 10th from 4th edition and 40k for 40k, and was so excited that Admech was a faction. I picked them up only to get gifted the rag that is the current Admech codex. Heresy Admech look for far more varied and interesting. Yeah, you. Unfortunately, if you came back in 10th edition, you missed the Admech Swan Song when they were mental good. Because they have been, haven't they?
Yeah, the start of 10th edition was a real sad time for everyone that was completely shit all the way through 9th. They were like, you had too much fun.
Unless you're an Eldar player.
Unless you're an Eldar player. And they were like, but Games Workshop can't write a bad Eldar book. That's generally the rules.
Yeah,
I remember in 8th edition, people were shitting over this Eldar book is awful. And then when people got their hands on it, it was just when people realised how to stack -1 modifiers, it was like they were like, oh, basically you just can't hit me at all, and I shoot you. And that was a really fun time for everyone else for a solid 6 months. But yeah, the Admech got hit really hard after a very good 8th edition, and then a very good, but not as a very good 9th edition. And Games Workshop were like, you've had your time. It's like Tyranid Warriors suffer from it now. They were fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
They were like, you can't hurt me on a 1, 2, or a 3. And now, garbage.
Oh, that transhuman stuff that they've actually brought into everything. It was like, this is a bit too powerful. He's put on everything.
It's mental.
Yeah.
I don't mind having 1 or 2 units with it.
It was also like you can't lose any more than this number of wounds in a phase stuff.
Yeah.
Mental.
It was fine when it was just Abaddon, you know? And then the Be'lakor had the stuff where you can't hurt me on a 1, 2, or 3. That was fine. And then they were like, all Deathwing Terminators have it. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know?
You kind of get it for specific characters. Abaddon, maybe Phoenix Lords. Phoenix Lords weren't so bad because they only like 6 wounds.
Yeah.
Maybe Gazgul. Yeah, exactly.
But it went.
By the way, also all of the Deathwing Terminators and all of the Catan and
the entire Harlequin army.
Yeah, can't be hit on a 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Insane.
It was just a bit. It was a bit much. So everyone kind of suffered afterwards. But Admech got hit so hard. It was just like. I just felt sorry for them.
Yeah.
But
they got battered in 10th. But this is the lowest point they've had in a long time, right? So the bonus cray is they should get better.
Yeah. I think their newer detachments are quite good. I've got loads of Admech stuff to build and paint. And I will. It's just time.
Yeah. It is a precious commodity that we don't have enough of. Yeah. Scry, thank you for the $5. Also, the parade was pretty bad. So many outstep. I've seen privates marching to Chow do better. Yeah, it wasn't good, was it? Did you see this? Did you see the 250th birthday of the American Army parade over the weekend?
No.
Oh. It was a parade.
I've seen some videos of previous parades from American Army, and as someone who's grown up in British culture and the existence of London and having like changing of the guards and stuff,
which also happened this weekend.
Yeah, when you see the American stuff, you're like, ugh.
Well, actually, it wasn't changing the guards. It was a trooping colour.
You're like, I have no
It was quite a stark contrast. When this weekend we had the trooping the colour, which is a very well rehearsed thing done by ceremonial and guardsmen.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of they do get a lot of practice. And then we had the 250th birthday, which looked like American soldiers going out for a bimble.
They just kind of waddle along, don't they?
Yeah.
Also,
they marched better in Band of Brothers.
Yeah, I don't like wearing a suit, right? But shirts untucked in the military I find weird. Like when they're just walking along and they've just got this like big baggy jacket on.
We have stages of shirts untucked.
Yeah, but I know. But when you're on parade and you've just got a big baggy coat on,
yeah,
one of the best my men in uniform.
When they released MTP, one of the first things we were doing was it was untucked shirts, which is quite comfortable.
Yeah, I imagine it is more comfortable and more relaxed. But it's just like, as a country that has this actual ceremonial, like, military role. I suppose that's the problem that America has. They just don't have a ceremonial job, do they? Because even like the White House doesn't have a ceremonial guard, does it?
Yeah. Matt, I don't know. I won't have any way of checking either, mate. If it's come out your bank, then I assume it's paid me, but it didn't show up last night at all, so I have no idea if that's what you're talking about, sir. So I really don't know. But don't chuck them at me again just in case, or because I don't want you to get charged twice for the same thing.
And the thing is, though, the American military does have a lot of good dress uniforms. Like the Marines have those cool hats. They've got those cool bush hats, don't they? And they've got maybe it's just like after World War II, they're like,
we'll try again. Just want to know first. Only if you're comfortable with gifting more members. Like if you're doing it as a replacement, I don't know. So you'd have to contact Google support and see if it's come out your bank. Normally, if it's not normally right. It's not the nicest thing talking about. If you're paying for members and super chats that don't show up on the stream, normally speaking, if it comes out your bank and it doesn't work, it comes back into your, like it gets refunded. Google refunds you. It doesn't charge you a penny. So I've had people before that have gone to gift 10 members. It's gifted none of them out at all, and then they've gone, I got refunded for it. So like, keep an eye on your banks because YouTube's being really funny right now. Some people are struggling to super chat. They go to super chat and YouTube crashes. They're doing lots of little updates here and there, and it's behaving strangely for people. If you are in a position where you have no idea if it has or hasn't gone through, and you think you want to gift more memberships, that's fine. It's incredible, but only do fucking hell, Matt. But only do it if you're comfortable with gifting more memberships.
That's quite the number to test on there.
Yeah, we didn't know if we got the 10, so thank you, Matt, for 50 gifted memberships. We were on 50 as well, so Matt's just hit the target.
I know, because he's a giga chat.
50. This one works, mate. I love you all. I love you too, mate. Thank you so much,
love
Matt,
you
for
lots.
50 gifted memberships. You're insane.
Yeah. I hope that you get lucky tonight. You get steak and blowjob night tonight.
I hope your either current missus or future missus, depending on what your current relationship status is, has decided that she just really loves sucking you off. Yeah. And that's it now. You get woken up that way every morning.
Yeah, that's how you heal a cold and a headache.
Yeah. That was probably a bit better as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got a headache.
Yeah. Yeah.
Matt, you're fucking insane. Thanks, man.
Breakfast
that puts
in
us
bed.
on 100. We are. I don't know if you 260 people that are watching the Limjo show are aware. I have mentioned it a couple of times already, but there is no shows on Thursday. There is no shows on Thursday because I've got Horus Heresy, Hobby House business meetings on Thursday. What things to do, unfortunately, so we've cancelled the shows for the day. So anything extra you might want to throw at us today to cover off for Thursday would be greatly appreciated. Obviously, you don't have to. We're not doing shows. I get that. But it makes me slightly less nervous about missing shows. Matt, you're insane. Thank you for 50 gifted. I love you. Live Panda, thank you for the $5. Imagine if someone had a free online site that let you get the rules with a click. New Recruit was built in a cave with a box of scraps. GW, do better. That app's not bad though. I think that app's decent. Like there's some people that hate on games. There's some people that hate on Games Workshop apps. I'm not saying this is what Dan's doing. There's some people that hate on Games Workshop's app, and I'm like, but the app's good.
The app's really
like at this point, surely what you're doing is you're hating on it because it's Games Workshop. Like their website is crap.
To be fair, the app wasn't good when it launched. right? It was functional and it worked, but it wasn't great. I think now, I think it's been really good for over a year now. Like, I've not faulted anything on the app at all.
We're getting to it, Local Penguin. Don't worry.
Yeah, like the only faults that people have is that obviously it's paywalled, right?
Which I get.
I understand, right? But the functionality of the app is the best app they've ever produced, and I think in terms of apps that I've used for other miniature games, this is just vastly better than all of them.
Yeah, I think the app is very good.
I tried using the Warlord Games one,
and they've slowly but surely added little bits and tweaks here and there.
Yeah.
Even as simple as recently adding the base sizes, I think is a positive step.
Oh yeah.
Lots of little things are adding, which I think is very. I think the app is exceptionally good. But sorry, if you're Australian, it's a word we use here a lot, Matt. I don't know if you're aware.
I think
we are family, mate. Don't you worry.
The day that the Warhammer 40k app came out, I deleted Battlescribe, and I've not gone back to Battlescribe. Though I tell a lie, I went back to Battlescribe to try and write a Horus Heresy list when the new version came out, and it was awful, and I deleted it again.
On the topic of their actual website, I think Games Workshop could do better, right? So yesterday I spent hours in Brighton working on the Hobby House website with our web developers and another person because I am so keen to make sure we bring out what is a decent functional website that pisses all over Games Workshops.
The Games Workshop website is weird, right? So if you go from the home page, the drop down menu creates a thing where you go to AOS and then it creates another sub menu which then you can choose your allegiance, so like chaos, death, blah. And then from that, another sub-menu, which then takes you to like Gloomspec, Gits, or Orc Warclans, blah, blah, blah. If you click on the AOS thing, which takes you to the AOS page, finding your way from there to your specific sub-factions really hard. Because there's no little drop-down menu that allows you to pick faction, sub-faction.
Yeah.
You can only really, it only really functions well if you go from the home page through sub-menus. If you're going from the actual game itself to the sub-faction, very hard. And it really bugs me.
Sol says the bullshit thing on to be for the app is for GC Unicode, I have to buy the NID codex to actually play Final Day. That, when you have detachments that allow you to use two different factions and you already own one of the books, that does annoy me a little bit, that you have to then buy the other book. I don't like that, but it is what it is. I don't like the way that... So as much as I praise the app, I don't like the way that it's monetized. Someone said, I think Whitey said the rules search function could be improved, and I agree on that one as well.
Yeah.
But I think the rules search function becomes a better process when the rules aren't in 5,000 fucking places.
Yeah.
So sometimes I use that app for the rule search function because it means I haven't got to go on the website, download 8 documents and try and find which one it's in.
So someone was telling me the other day that like the original app when it came out was a complete mess because the app itself was basically someone created a prototype of how the app would work, showed it to the higher ups, and they were like, "We like it, we want that," because they did it on like based on Space Marine Codex as a prototype, and then they were like, "We want that, we want you to launch it, it's really, really good," and they were like, "You've got a month."
Yeah.
And then basically the app was actually basically entirely scripted off of the prototype.
So I, under NDA, had a meeting with the app developers before they launched the thing.
Yeah.
So they could tell us all about this 40k app. They took us through this app, and I gave them a bunch of feedback about why, if you're going to beat Battlescribe, there's things you need to do and things that this doesn't currently do. And I basically gave him loads of things and features and changes and tweaks, and he went, "They're all good ideas. We haven't got the time."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, it's been accelerated considerably."
Yeah.
Oh.
I think it was basically because it was based off of the prototype in the back end, everything was just called bolt gun. So all Eldar in the back end was called bolt gun. So obviously they had to change it for the app.
Yeah.
But everything, so they had like 10,000 listings of equipment for all functions, but in the back end, it's all called bolt gun. And it was a nightmare. So I think I think like where they've come from and what they've learned, I think the app is incredibly good for what.
Yeah, I think so too.
For what you get.
Sam, thank you for the $2. Was on the fence, but after cinematic, I'm sold. The cinematic was beautiful, and it so good. That
really
sold
like
me
it.
definitely. And then local penguin. I'm getting to this one quickly now. Thank you for 5 gifted. He did come in and said I gifted 5 just for a Joe Hope. It's the only reason why he's done it, Joe. So we are legitimately now just making money off of Joe Hope, which is great. And has also said at the same time that he's ignoring work calls to wait for the Joe Hopes. This needs to be a good one. So, local penguin, thank you.
That's a lot of pressure to put on a man.
Local penguin, thank you for 5 gifted memberships.
I hope that your work for the rest of the day gets cancelled by your boss, and you have a staff pizza party, but like a good one, not like where it's like, oh, I bought everyone a pizza, you'll get 1 slice.
Yeah.
You get an entire Domino's large pizza each with cookies, and an ice cream van turns up for you to all just relax and sit outside and have free ice cream as well.
A cancelled afternoon at work with a full-size pizza party and ice cream.
Yeah.
Is the ice cream also paid for?
Yeah.
That's fucking banging.
And yeah. And
I want that day.
Yeah. And then you can just go home when you want after all that.
I'd like a day where work was cancelled for the afternoon, the boss ordered pizza and we get ice cream as well.
Yeah. Technically, if you're doing it from home, would Luce be the boss? So everyone's like, oh,
God, no.
The boss. Yeah.
Thank you, Tony Winnick, for 5 gifted memberships.
Thank you, Tony. I hope, Tony, that you are given a helper monkey to live with you. Not the little one that Ace Ventura has.
Where's the Fez?
Yeah.
I'll call that a massive win, mages.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nick, for the 5. In a world where cataphracti exists, why would you ever take those pleasure toy pauldrons? I think they're better. I think the Saturnine's better. I think it's cooler. I think it looks cooler, the cataphracti, and this is the beauty of taste, but I think, because it's all subjective, right? So no one's right, no one's wrong, but I think I would rather have Saturnine than have cataphracti. I'd rather have an army of Mark 6 and Mark 2 plastic Space Marines, and then my big elites would be Saturnine than I would normal Terminators.
My problem with the Saturnine now is it looks shit in comparison to the other Terminators that exist across all game systems, because it's too small now. It was released when... Was it Prospero? Well, there's 2. There's Prospero and there was another one, wasn't there? Calf. I can't remember which one it came in, but the scaling is now off because the game's been scaled up since they came out. So they look really small now. They need to scale up the cataphracti now.
Yes, agree.
To be in line with everyone else. I think if it was scaled up, I think that's why the new Saturnine stuff looks really good, because it's fucking massive. It's huge. It feels like Terminators, whereas... Like, I use the cataphracti arms and shoulder pads on my Chaos Space Marine Terminators because it makes them look a bit more aggressive and bulky. But I wouldn't use the cataphracti bodies because they're just really small and dweeby.
Harborn says, Liam, your boss would never do that for you. He's such a jerk. Facts. Straight facts, mate. Yeah. Absolutely is.
Technically, they're our boss.
Technically, they are our boss, but there's only one way they can give us the afternoon off.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. Anyway, thank you then, Matt, for the 50. You're amazing. And then, Matt, thank you for 10 more gifted memberships.
Thank you.
Put us on 110 team. Amazing. Amazing generosity from Matt with 60 gifted off the bat.
Yeah. I hope, whilst your wife is become this essentially like pleasure slave to you, you also have a household full of beautiful Latina cleaners and cooks that wear those tiny maid outfits.
That sounds more torturous than pleasuresome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't know if you know this, I'm not sure you're aware, but you can't just grab them. They have to give permission, Joe.
Oh, they're happy with it. They sign a thing,
Right.
It's all consensual.
Okay.
you just live in this wonderful pleasure house where everyone is an adult consenting. I don't want to get in trouble again.
No, quite.
I don't want to say something. Everyone is cool with it. We're all adults having fun. You know? It's like it's almost like Matt's house is a non-seedy version of the Playboy Mansion.
I'm here for it.
Yeah?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That is us then, team. You people, oh my lord. Apparently it's not us, Jay.
It's not us.
How are you going to now get better than Matt's CD version of the Pleasure House Playboy Mansion? Because Matt's just gifted another fucking 50 gifted memberships. He lives in Australia. This man's crazy. He's clearly been upside down for far too long. It's 100. You say Joe stopped talking, but then look what happened, Dan. Yeah. He's clearly happy with his hopes.
He's happy with it, you know.
They homeless Latino women.
No, because they would have a part of your giant mansion house.
Oh my god!
You know.
Thank you so much, Matt, for 50 more gifted. You fucking legend.
Thank you. I hope that no one attacks you legally or me legally for words that have been spoken. You know, I hope that you get to live that 80s power male lifestyle where...
Oh, I feel like when Hobby House starts to grow and there's more than just you and I, Joe, I'm going to have a proper HR department and some insurance, aren't I?
Well, I think that each hope is personalised, right? And he likes it.
Yeah,
right?
Quite.
Yeah.
Okay.
If someone wants some other kind of hope, you know, like, I'm not saying like have a Diddy Epstein Island.
No,
you know?
Quite. Yeah, no. But if you wanted that,
I just want everyone to live in a world where they can kind of do what they want within reason, legally,
without negatively impacting anybody else. That's the key part there, Joe. Right?
Without anyone getting upset, without hurting anybody. Everyone's just doing what they want to do. You know, love is love, holes is holes. You know, it's all.
Oh no!
Just everyone love everybody.
Never change.
Just
yeah.
HR needs to chill out as well, don't they?
HR needs to chill out. Well, we don't have HR. HR is me right now.
So, that's a problem in itself, I think.
Why is that a problem?
Why
is me being HR a problem?
Because you say terrible things. You
I
do
don't.
terrible things.
Ever.
Like my Instagram would disagree. But, you know.
That's not professional. That's not work-based.
Yeah, that's true. I think just everyone just do what you want. Just within reason.
Within legalities.
Within a legal definition of fun.
Yes.
Do that.
There you go.
Okay. With pizza parties.
I bet you're feeling pretty good about your pizza party and free ice cream now, aren't you?
Yeah.
I needed that giggle, especially before the goblin turns up as well.
I forgot. I said I forgot. I told you that. I think we might do a tournament Tuesday-esque. I think Tournament Terrain might be on the cards.
Tournament-ish terrain.
Yeah. I think, yeah. I just need to decide, because basically I've got some... Obviously, I've used Dark Angels and Tyranids recently, but I feel like they're good options to use today. Because new Raveners...
We've got some painted now.
So we can show them off, because they obviously went on pre-order on the weekend.
Yep.
And that pre-order went fast. Really fast. I think they made the right choice in putting the rules up before it went on pre-order. Right?
Yeah.
Because it's a unit that every Tyranid player wants. I am a little bit upset that because I was like, oh, I missed the I'll go check eBay. £85 the scalpers want for that Ravenous unit. 85. There are where Element currently has the old Tyranid Raveners at 35 quid, but you only get 3. So it's still a £70 box set, essentially for 6. So if you buy 5 of those, you do get you do buy 5 boxes to get the full 15.
Yeah.
So that's 150 quid ish. So maths. So you'll probably end up having to spend more than if you bought them when they come out.
Yeah, that's just the price of being impatient, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, instead of buying from scalpers,
but if you
just buy the old boxes for cheaper.
If you were able to sell the stuff that's the other half of the main box,
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just I was really fucked off when I went on eBay and they're like, 85 quid. Some are up for 100 quid, and I was like,
for the new ones,
yeah.
It's insane, isn't it? But they are. It's typical Games Workshop. They are a beautiful model set, only available in a very expensive box.
Yeah, and you have to wait 2 months before the box comes out.
3.
It's
quarterly, mate.
Oh.
Yep.
It's
Matt,
does
Matt have a? I'm not promising you it, Matt. Despite the 110 members, do you have a preference, Tyranids or Dark Angels for Jay?
Yeah, so basically, yes. The option was I do new Tyranids because we've got the new Tyranid models, or Dark Angels because Paddy, Mr. Zero Chill, allowed me to show off nothing from the new detachment.
Yeah, he just basically flattened
He
you.
was just like, you know all that stuff we're going to show off? No.
Yeah.
Here's a bit of an on-game. So, yeah. You know, Matt, what do you want me to run? Dark Angels or...
and if you say Dark Angels, it is possible that in an hour's time, Joe will go, I actually want to do Tyranids.
I don't mind.
But let me know. Where's the trouble? I've just a lovely text message here, Jay, from a mobile phone number that says, DWP official notice. You have been recognised by the system as an eligible resident to apply for a one-off £200 to £300 home energy grant. The grant will help pay for the recent increase in electricity and gas bills, as well as the energy costs of everyday appliances such as water heaters and air conditioners. It's interesting, I don't have a water heater or an air conditioner. This non-repayable grant, no repayment is required, and the funds will be paid directly into your account you provide. The DWP is committed, this is how I know it's a lie, the DWP is committed to providing strong and timely livelihoods for UK residents. Report junk.
I'm still having a wonderful back and forth with this debt collecting company that's
For the parking, the pub car parking.
Yeah, from 5 years ago.
Nice.
They're trying to charge me. It was £100 per the 3 tickets from 5 years ago, plus a £70 charge for each ticket.
£100 for each ticket.
Yeah.
How many tickets?
3.
3.
3 they're trying to charge you
Plus
for.
70 quid.
Plus 70 quid for each
So
ticket.
what, £510 off you?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
And I'm like, have you got proof? They're like, but basically we've been charged by this company to do the collection. You would have received the proof when you had this letter. I'm like, what, 5 years ago, which I haven't received.
Just.
By the way, I might have even paid some parking charges back ages ago for the ones I got the things through for. Like, they're like, 3 tickets you haven't paid, and I'm like, can you give me proof? And they're like, we don't need to give you proof.
Well, then you're not having any fucking money, you clowns.
And I'm like, they're like, you would have received these letters years ago.
Is this legit or is this a scam in itself?
I don't know, because I'm like, unless you give me actual physical proof from the company that's asking for it, I'm not going to hand over any money to you. Because how in the world do we have these debt collection agencies that could just turn up and be like, by the way, someone has said that you haven't paid it, I have to give you 0 proof, hand me money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, give me proof, and I'll show you the proof that I've already paid for these years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just one of those situations where I'm just like, you can't just demand money and be like, I don't have to give you proof. You have to give it, and we'll turn up your house and take stuff anyway. Because that's mental. So I'm just doing this one.
They'll need proof. They have to have proof.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Because they just, every time I email them, they're like, we don't have to give you. Like they said, like you would have received the letter, and I keep responding to them. It was 5 years ago. You're trying to take money from me. I need to have proof that what you are trying to do is.
I'm not paying you for something that I'm unaware of,
Yeah.
the circumstance or outcome, without you providing me proof first. Because if you provide me proof of when it happened and occurred, I can then provide you proof of payment.
Yeah, and then they respond with, the time to question this has passed. You know,
Fuck off.
and I'm like,
Fuck off.
Yeah, the time to dispute this has passed.
Fuck off.
And I'm like,
This sounds more and more scammy the more you talk about it, mate.
yeah, I'm like, give me proof. Because by law, I would have assumed that these people that are trying to collect money from a debt collection agency would still have to prove to them.
The company instructing the debt collection agency will have to supply proof that the debt needs collecting.
Yeah.
So they would have had to have received proof from the company instructing them that you are an individual that owes them money.
Yeah.
So they'll have proof. If it's genuine, they'll have proof.
They would have surely emailed across.
And the statement, the time to question this has passed. I'm like, this sounds like a scam now.
Yeah.
It sounds like absolute bullshit. That for me, they lose legitimacy immediately when they make that sort of statement.
Yeah.
Guinea Parasite, thank you for the $5. I missed Carcharodon's Void Exile limited edition at the weekend. £90 on eBay. Scumbags. Scumbags is the word. Just said the time to collect the money has passed. That's the response.
Yeah.
The time to question this has passed. The time to collect the money has passed. Shove it up your ass. 5 years later is a mental amount of time either.
So
this has got to be a scam.
I've done some Google research, and the time limit for them to be able to collect is 6 years. After 6 years, they can't do it. It gets thrown out. So I'm like, is this just like a last minute push where you've kind of forgotten it and just...
Matt, thank you for the tea.
What I need to do is take it to like an actual legal person that knows these things.
Talk to Citizens Advice.
Yeah.
Go Citizens Advice Bureau.
I hate talking to Citizens Advice.
But you get free legal advice, Joe. You get half an hour free legal advice.
Yeah.
If you can get your half an hour free legal advice and go, look at this, what do you think? And then they'll tell you literally where you do or don't stand.
Yeah.
And I reckon they'll go, that looks like a scam. Fuck them off. Because it does. So...
Yeah. Also, realistically, who's going to send a debt collector out for 500 quid? Because surely it costs them loads of... Because the debt's... like, right, if the debt for this company is 300 quid, right, but they're... and the collection agent's only getting 210 quid, you know, that's the wages of the person going out to someone's house to do the collection.
It sounds like nonsense, I'll be honest with you. They have to survive evidence and a letter stating who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've had letters to my house saying we're blah blah blah, you owe us this money. But every time I've asked for proof, they're like,
yeah. If they can't provide proof, then it's very simple. If you can't provide proof, I'm not providing payment. It's as simple as that. Give me proof, we'll talk. Anyway, you people have been amazing. Matt, you've been fucking insane. Thank you so much, you wonderful human beings. It's now 20 to 4. We're going to turn the room around. Get ready for this evening's live game of 40k, which will be Dark Angels or Tyranids.
it says angles
versus...
I think he said Necrons.
Necrons, yeah.
He's bringing multiple Catan and lots of destroyers.
He said a couple Catan.
And that's so basically that prompted me to go probably tournament terrain.
Yeah. The team spoke. So there's no promises though. I told you this, right? It might influence Joe, but there's no promises.
No, I'll run Dark Angels.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll do it.
There you go. There you go. So it'll be Dark Angels versus Necrons tonight. Hopefully you've enjoyed this Liam and Joe show. I am actually quite excited about Heresy, and I think the Saturnine models did help that. I actually think they're really nice. I actually also am going to controversially say I like the fact they split opinion. I like model ranges that split opinions.
Yeah.
Where some go they're beautiful, some don't really like them. I don't like model ranges that are uniformly hated because that's bad. I don't mind model ranges that are uniformly loved. That's fine, but it just means that there's no discussion or whatever. It's just everyone's going to have it because it's pretty. Yeah. I do like models that split opinion between absolutely stunning and terrible because some people will run them because they're cool and some people won't because they don't like them. Yeah. I think that's like a nice sweet spot. on the whole. Right, thank you, you wonderful human beings, for hanging out. If you haven't already, please make sure you smash that like button for us on the stream. We have 130 likes already, and there's over 100 more people than that currently watching. That'd be super helpful, and it helps the algorithm after the video turns into an on-demand stream. We'll be live at 7:30 this evening with that live game of 40k. We are back tomorrow with the Warhammer show as well at 7:30 if you do miss tonight. Thursday is a cancelled day of streaming because business stuff. Friday, I'm then back again at 9 p.m. for After Dark with my Mead. That's the week ahead. You people are amazing. Matt, you're insane.
I just paid my tax in iTunes gift cards.
Wait, what?
I don't.
Okay. Thank you, you wonderful human beings, for watching.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye, one of a time.